All right, everybody. This is broadcast of the Ebony Star Network, sponsored by the Earth and Nation. We are Black people who are building positive relations with other Black people. We are pro-Black people. We are pro-Black mama. We are pro-Black child. We are pro-Black, and we are built by popular demand. Tonight's show is going to be very interesting. We got a couple of things we want to talk about. I'm going to continue with the Ruthless Sellout series. Then we're going to break away into the story of Yakub, which should be real interesting. All right. So tonight's podcast should be one to remember. All right. All right, everybody. Shout out to Hassan Burton. Let's get this show on the road, Dame. Drop it.
Yeah, son. There's mad kids out there getting cream for the 9-5, bro. Yeah, and I've been doing this for a long time. You know, shoot the game, going for mine.
All right.
And this is the year when mad cats get peeled. So I'ma spark this line, kick the reel.
Bang them out.
With all this chaos in the realms of the street, your local street dog got to make ends meet. The average Joe's far too slow for this ghetto pro. You better know, when I hit the streets, I like to glow, I like to glisten. And at the same time, stay low, listen, motherfuck the fame. I'm pursuing the dope. My stilo is symbolic to a kilo. Cash is popping, coke's cooking, beans is copping. Ain't that some shit? A player that's used to living rich is now a sticky kid, caught up in a ditch. In 94, Giuliani kicked down the door. In 95, niggas flipped to stay alive. Peeling caps while I laugh. In the stats, the 4.5. Remy in the glass, spark the boom, then I blast. They wanna confine me, sneak up from behind me. Bust a cap in my back and put me where they can't find me. They hate to see a young player pay. I don't wanna see that, son. They rather see him spray. But I'm like Diddy, a Terminator, squeeze the lead off. Using verbs and nouns like rounds to blow your head off. Hitting up spots, heating up blocks. Investing in stocks like Colombian blow crops. I'm out to get cream and ain't no doubt in my mind. Fuck this broke shit, I'm hit, I get down for mine. I get down for mine. Get down for this. Get it funny, put your hands in the air. I get down for mine. Get down for hands on the regular. Shit, nigga, no fear. I get down for mine. Get down for this. Get it funny, put your hands in the air. I get down for mine. Get down for this. On the regular. Shit, nigga. I hear you wanna be a player. I ain't someplace you bet. Let's play a game of real nigga roulette. Witness a DOA as I spray the melee. Contact and punctuation is compared to AKs. You in a daze, overdose for pure funk. I'm fucking off like Tommy Gibb. But karma's a booty smoke. Decapitated rappers in my trunk. I'm sick, pumping skunk, bouncing with my click, popping mega jump. I'm getting back while these clowns be zigzagging. What's this talk about flipping keys? Come on, you're nickel bagging. I'm blasting off wings and making doubters believe it. You see, I was packing heaters when jokers was banging cheerleaders. Ain't nothing changed, it's still the same in the rap game. I'm known for banging rookies out the frame. Y'all done forgot who was the pimp from the start. Sipping vintage wine, eating a la carte. I'm phenomenal from the abdominal. Far from comical lyrics and sticking the brains like barnacles. Never sleep. I'm bringing the drama to the streets with techniques and rolling in fleets. Ain't nothing sweet about the streets, so I'm poetically ill. I'm pure like cook up and lyrics shine like fish scale. I got the banger at your throat and you ain't showing no signs. K-Dep, let them know I get down for mine. I get down for mine. I get down for this. And you wanna put your hands in the air. I get down for mine. I get down for this. On the regular, shake the fingers, no fear. I get down for mine. I get down for this. And you wanna put your hands in the air. I get down for mine. I get down for this. On the regular, shake the fingers, no fear. I get down for mine. I get down for mine.
All right, everybody, what's going on? It is Gangsta Talk. Shout out to the young gun in the chat. My chat general truth is my main brother Hassan Burton, my other brother, the Bro Speak podcast. Bro Speak wouldn't miss this one for the world. Anyway, well, we're not gonna get into that just yet. That's the main course. All right. So we're gonna give people time to get in here because we want everybody to get into this one. And but first, we're gonna talk about a few things. Okay. I'm going to address this so-called attack on black boys by black women. I'm sure y'all have heard that by now. Psychopathia is doing a live on it. I'm going to give you my take on that. I'm going to start off with continuing the Ruthless Sellout series by starting with my own community, in Portsmouth where I live, and I mentor young boys and I work with brothers to try to keep the streets safe. We are up against a contingent of evil black men who are in gangs who are supplying young boys with weapons. And I'm not talking about any old kind of weapons. These are AR-15s. These are automatic high-power weapons. We even confiscated a high-power rifle with a scope on it from one kid who was 17 years old. Okay, so while we're working hard in the streets trying to turn these boys around, there's a contingent of black men that's working against us, trying to keep these boys' minds criminal-minded by supplying them weapons. Now, we just had an incident in Portsmouth, Virginia, where a young brother was caught trying to smuggle weapons into the school to give to his classmates so they can start shooting at other young black boys. And this is fueled by the contingent of black men in the community who are extremely destructive, who are into gangs, and all they like to do is live a life of crime. Again, they're supplying weapons in the streets to these young boys. Some of them are just giving these boys guns, not charging them any money. They're just handing these boys guns. And like I said, these ain't ordinary guns. These are high-powered, semi-automatic to fully automatic guns. I mean, 17, 13-round clips. This is ridiculous. And the weapons are in the hands of kids. Anywhere between, the youngest that we got a weapon off of was 12 years old. He had a 13, I think he had a 13-round clip, 9mm, it wasn't a Beretta, it was something else. 13-round clip, 12 years old. Where do you think he got that gun from? He got that gun. You see, if you want to say that white supremacy is flooding the streets with weapons, you can say that. But they're flooding the street with weapons through black people. Remember the movie Panther, right? Not Chadwick Boseman or anything like that. The one with Huey P. Newton was in it, and you had Mario Van Peebles playing Stokely Carmichael. Remember the black dude named Sabu? The one who kept wanting to sell drugs in the community? Regardless of all of the positive stuff that was going on around him, he just wanted to sell drugs. He just wanted to live a life of crime. Well, there's a bunch of Sabus in our community right now. The Sabus are the ones who are supplying these kids with weaponry. The Sabus are the one that gave that 12-year-old boy a 9mm with a 13-round clip. The gun was almost as big as he was. You understand? It's the Sabus who don't care nothing about no one in the community other than to make money and to steal and to hurt people and to bring war to your peaceful community. This is what we're fighting, even in my own community. We have a contingent of ex-military veterans. We're highly skilled with the gun. We're not afraid to deal with these dudes, and they know that. They usually maintain their distance, but we are dealing with these dudes and trying to get them out of the community because they are doing something extremely dangerous. This is what I mean by a ruthless sellout. These sabus in your communities are ruthless sellouts, and the sabus don't have a problem with killing black people. Just like in the movie Panther, when Sabu was selling drugs in the community and he was approached for the second time, he took out a gun and he killed one of the Black Panthers. This is the guy that you have to get out of your community. This is the guy that controls gangs. This is the guy that controls the drug trade. This is the guy that white supremacy is funneling black market weapons through into your community. These sabus. Remember the part when Bobby Brown told my man from the Black Panthers that Sabu was back and he got juice now? So Sabu went out there and got all his connections right with the white man, got all his connections right with the foreigners to bring drugs to the community because all he cared about was himself. All he cared about was living a lavish lifestyle. He cared nothing about the kids in the community. He cared nothing about what went on in that community. His love for money ultimately killed his humanity for his own people. And you have a lot of them in the community right now. That's what you're up against. A group full of sabus who are supplying young boys with weaponry. Like I said, the youngest we took a weapon off of was a 12-year-old boy. The gun was bigger than him. 13-round clip. A 9. What is he doing with that kind of weapon? And was on his way to school with that kind of. You see, here's another problem. They're taking this weaponry into schools where there are innocent children trying to learn, children who are unsuspected. And because you have an evil voice in their head, this evil voice is telling them, you need to go make a name for yourself. You need to go in that school and just start blasting so people will know your name, so people will know who you are. And these young boys, they get gassed up on that because they want to make a name in the streets. For some reason, they done turned the streets into the yellow brick road paved with accolades. That's what they've done. And for some reason, these guys think that having a star in the street is what's going to get you by in this world, what's going to get you known in this world. They'd rather be known in the street for doing all kinds of crimes and going to jail than to be known for doing something positive, than to be known for anything else other than a life of crime. Why are our children, and mainly the boys, are so criminal minded? I'll tell you why. Because they're being approached by these sabus. Hold on one second, y'all. Then I'll be right back.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Yeah, and then these children don't even know how to handle these things. They're just as likely to hurt themselves as anyone else. And it's gonna put a target on black community too, because it's gonna be looking like it's us. Oh yeah, when it's one of them, they don't do anything about it. But when it's gonna be one of us, they're gonna put they're gonna kill them boys, put them in jail, and they're gonna crack down, use that as an excuse to crack down on black folks. Yeah. So so don't get why we have kids thinking that it's okay to kill. They don't know. They think it's gonna be something like a video game or something, or they want some. They got some bullets they want to deal with. But you know,
Okay,
getting
I'm back. Thanks, man. Sorry about that. I'm
okay.
back. And yeah, and so like I was saying, right? And so you have the sabus in their ear. You see, when you don't raise your boys and you leave them in the street, the mother can only do but so much. She can't go with them everywhere. She can't hold their hand everywhere. She can't coddle them for the rest of their life. She can't shield them for the rest of their life. At some point, he has to grow up and he has to face challenges in the real world. This is why most women, most mothers pray their hearts out because they can only do but so much. When there's no father around, there's no influence from the father, and the boys get in the street and they face the challenges of the street. Many of them fall by the wayside and they succumb to what they encounter in the street. The sabus are out there. The sabus are telling them, man, forget about it, man. I ain't have my daddy either. Forget about working for the white man. You got to take what you want. You want respect as a man, you got to go take it. And you got to be willing to kill. Here, let me give you your first gun. This gun is going to make you a man. These are the things that they tell these young boys. And then they gas their head up, you know, calling them soldiers, calling them killers. You ever see a dude come up to you and be, hey, killer? Y'all, y'all think that that's harmless, right? It actually isn't. It's very harmful because you're dealing with young kids who are extremely impressionable. So if you're calling them a killer, how do you think their mind may develop, right? So they tell these kids, anybody bother you in school, you put a cap in them. The police ain't gonna do nothing to you because you're a young kid. So they go to school with this false information in their head and they bring guns to school. And they don't think about homework. They don't think about their teacher. They don't think about the class. What they do is they sit up there in class all day thinking, ain't nobody gonna bother me. I'm ready. Nobody better not mess with me. That's what they think about. And then when a minor confrontation that could have easily been solved or avoided, when a minor confrontation happens, it quickly turns deadly because the boy has poison in his mind. Ain't nobody gonna mess with me. Ain't nobody gonna take my. I'm gonna take my respect. And now all that stuff Sabu been telling them, right, is coming to the forefront. Now the gun comes out, and bullets get to flying. People get hit. People go down. Now you have a story for the news. 5 shot at elementary school. Only 3 survived. So this is what you're up against. This is why I call these guys ruthless sellout. Hold on one second, y'all. Sabu is a ruthless sellout. Okay? Hold on one second, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm getting Texas. Sabu is what I call a ruthless sellout. And I mean ruthless because they don't care. They have no compassion. They don't care nothing about the life of a 12-year-old boy who just went to school and committed murder simply because he wanted an accolade in the street. He wanted that teardrop on his eye that Sabu told him about how he becomes an OG. They'd rather become OGs on the street and go in and out of jail and glorify criminals rather than to become surgeons, scientists, doctors, lawyers, mathematicians, hell, even great entertainers, magicians, you know, acrobatics, Olympians, track and field, football players. They'd rather become famous in the street. When Nipsey Hussle died, right? Let me tell you the disturbing rhetoric that I heard that's accepted by us. Well, those are the streets, man. In the streets, you don't let nobody do this, you don't let nobody do that. In the streets are more important than the man who was doing everything he can to help black people and build up his part of the neighborhood. So you lived in his part of the neighborhood and your grandmama and your mama was struggling to put a roof over your head and put food in your mouth. He's provided opportunities to feed your family and to put work in the community. So, but because we have this loyalty to the street, and then somehow this street code, it trumps life. To hell with the fact that he was buying buildings, trying to get black people to own property, and that he was doing things in the community to help black people. To hell with all of that. The street is more important. The code in the street to where you win nothing. There is no reward in the street. When you do something cold-blooded in the street, no one is coming to give you a reward. No one is coming to give you the Nobel Peace Prize. No one is coming to give you a plaque or a bust at the Hall of Fame or you know, any of that stuff. What you're going to do, depending on your crime, you may be on the FBI's most wanted list. That is your claim to fame. That is your reward. Your reward is death or jail. But somehow that trumps life. That trumps a man like Nipsey Hussle building his community, working in his community, getting other black people of like minds to work together and invest in his project so he can expand for black people. This man was buying up businesses and giving jobs to black people. So the bullshit that's in the street that took his life, black people are comfortable with accepting. And that's what you have to stop. You see, right now your mind is working backward. You're protecting criminals and you are accepting criminal behavior in your communities as if it's natural. And you are accepting the code of the streets. Now, where is this evil contingent, right? What is starting this stuff in the street and keeping this stuff going? Well, I'll tell you, it's the rappers. The rappers are the most at fault because they rap about the streets. They glorify the streets. They glorify pimping. They glorify murder. They glorify selling drugs in the street. They make the streets seems like you should win an award just for walking from one corner to the other. They make the streets seem like you should be famous and your name should ring out amongst people just by appearing somewhere on the block. Rappers and rap music is the culprit of this so-called fame and misguided fortune in the street. And the problem is you have a lot of black people believing in the fame of the street, even to the point where they're willing to take a righteous black person's life because the code of the street outweighs life itself. At what point do you get your mind right and you say, fuck the code of the street, and you start getting rid of the people who glorify this so-called code? Because this code is what took Nipsey Hussle's life. And he ain't the only life they took. They done took several lives of righteous brothers working in the community to stop gang violence, to protect women and children. That same code took their lives too. There was a one brother named Tony Bodie. I believe he was in either LA or in Memphis. He was doing a lot for gangs and peace. He used to be a gang member. He got out of that. He was helping a lot of youth, turning them around, keeping peace between the gangs so that they won't shoot everything up. And eventually that code in the street took his life too. And let me tell you something. As black people, if that code lives in our community, when it takes the life of the righteous, we are at fault because we allow that code to exist in our communities. My fathers and his friends and the fathers back then in the community I grew up would never allow such a code to exist in their communities. My father never glorified the street. He did the absolute opposite. He used to tell us that there's nothing good in the street. And if you end up in the street, you're a bum and you're a loser. You're not a winner, you're a loser. Stay out the street. There's nothing good in the street. My father preached against the street. He never allowed that code to enter the mind of his sons. He never glorified that code that took the life of Nipsey Hussle and so many others before him who were doing righteous things for black people. And at the end of the day, it's still black on black crime because it's not white supremacy. We know white supremacy. It's the black people that aid white supremacy that is the most heartbreaking. When the life of a righteous black person was taken by the hands of another black person who lives in the same community. And you have black people who say they don't want to snitch because they want to protect criminals and that they understand the code of the street. At some point, you're going to have to go against that code in the street because it's taking your righteous warriors, your righteous do-gooders. It's taking their lives. And you're sitting around and you're wondering, where are the good black people? They're being murdered by the code of the street. And the code of the street is condoned amongst black people and accepted when it shouldn't be. Okay, so now, with that being said, Dan, come on in here for a minute.
Yes.
Now, did I come across real clear?
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
Very clear.
Before we move on to the story, Yakub, got anything you want to say about my rant?
No. We got this. Look, seem to be y'all. That some of y'all thinking because we're talking against the black people that's doing these things, that somehow we're talking about all black men, or all black people. No, y'all grown adults. Y'all should know by now. We ain't talking about every black man. We're not talking about every black woman. We're not talking about all black people. And if we just concentrate on the okay, you said, well, there's positive things and stuff like that out there. Yes, but that don't mean that we ignore the negative. Because if we ignore the negative, nothing's gonna be done.
All right, we don't want to get too far for that, but I understand what you're saying. All right, let's cue up the story of Yakub. Get that video ready. All right, y'all, we're about to go into the main course. This has been, I've been promising y'all this kind of show. We are now going to, with Tukey Williams, I'll talk about that too at some point, Hassan. You brought up a good name, Tukey Williams. But anyway, the story of Yakub. Now, some of y'all have heard me and Kendall go back and forth about Yakub. The 5%ers have one version of him. He has three brains. The NOI has one version of him. He has two brains. Okay? The one that we're going to be talking about tonight is the one with two brains. Okay? Now, we're going to play the documentary, and I will be periodically having Dame stop it, and I'm going to be making comments and point certain things out about this so-called Yakub. You know, this guy who came out of the essence and made the devil. There's one thing I want you to know right off the bat, y'all. When y'all listen to this right in the beginning, understand these people came from a planet that was ravaged and destroyed by evil. I want y'all to keep that in mind. They're planet with all their brain power, two brains and all that, three brains and all that, and they could not stop the evil from destroying their planet. Think about that for a second. Think about that. You're about to hear some crazy shit. And I want you to use common sense. These people got serious brain power, two brains, three brains, and they couldn't stop the evil from destroying their planet. What does that tell you about evil? I keep telling people, evil and love are cousins. Evil and love cannot be stopped. They are forces. They're not some tangible thing that you reach out and touch. They are forces. You cannot stop a force. All right. Matter of fact, let me invite Bro Speak up here as an honored guest because I know he was waiting for this. Then drop the Gangsta link. See if my brother Bro Speak want to come up and have a seat, a front row seat, a front row seat. Go ahead and drop the Gangsta link. Same thing to you, Hassan. I'm gonna extend. We got two VIP. We got two VIP seats open. Even if we'll open up a third one, if three of y'all want to come up and get a front row seat to this extravaganza we're about to put on. So we're gonna drop the Gangsta link here in a minute. Okay, and so my brother Bro Speak, my brother Hassan, my sister Mika, y'all want to come up and get a front row seat so y'all can hear better? You're welcome to come up here before we get started. I'll be right back, y'all.
Okay. Yeah. All right, everybody. So there's the link. Click on there and I'll add you in. So it's Max's turn to tell y'all a bedtime story. Okay. There you go, Bro Speak.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. Max is keeping his promise about telling y'all the story of Yakub.
Yeah. I'd like to give out this disclaimer. Kendall, hey, I am not in support or any way negative towards Yakub, so don't send him after me. This is Max doing. I'm just here as an audience.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Okay. Well,
Yeah, we can hear you, Max.
he dropped off for a second. All right, he's gonna be back. Well, Kendall is either gonna out in the audience or he just when he saw the title, nope. I'm not getting in there.
you, he know what's about to happen. It's gonna be a long night for Kendall. He gonna get mad. But,
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Can
we
y'all
can
hear
hear
me?
you.
yeah, we can hear you, man.
Bro, what up, bro? Speak. Bro, Speak has given his disclaimer. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, just to
Hey,
be on the safe side, let
yeah.
me go ahead and get my
all
my
right,
copyright.
all
My
right, y'all. Let's get
FBI.
this on the road.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
All right.
Now, remember, I'm going to be stopping it periodically, giving commentary. But one thing I want y'all to keep in mind right off the bat: 3 brains, 2 brains, however many brains they got, they couldn't stop the evil from destroying their planet. Keep that in mind as you listen. All right?
Okay.
Go ahead, Dane. Do your FBI thing.
All right. This channel may contain content not authorized for use by its owner. However, according to Section 107 of the Copyright Act of the United States, the fair use of copyrighted work for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research is not an infringement of copyright. So, fair
All
use.
right, cue it. All right, cue it up, Dane.
All
But
right.
pause it. Don't play it yet. All right, everybody, sit back, grab your popcorn, your libations. We're about to start the story of the mysterious Yakub, the mad black man who created the devil and kicked himself out of heaven. So uh, now we're going to get some insight into how Kendall Rowland thinks. And I hope he shows up here. All right. Somebody go and get the word out to him anyway. All right, Dane, fire it up.
All right.
Thousands of years ago, on this planet we call Earth, our planet was visited by various groups of extraterrestrial humanoid beings. These extraterrestrial humanoid beings had to leave their planet, and seek refuge here on Earth because their home planet had been destroyed by evil. When these extraterrestrial humanoid beings arrived on Earth, they chose to take residence inside the center of the Earth, because the surface of the Earth was inhabited by human beings. At this point in time in Earth's history, the human beings who lived on the surface of the Earth were all of one tribe, the Ebonyoid tribe. Since they live inside the Earth, these extraterrestrial beings have now become interterrestrial beings. The center of the Earth where these interterrestrial beings reside also contains an inner sun. The inner Earth has been called by a variety of names by cultures around the world, including Shambhala by Buddhist, Agartha by Tibetans, Kurnuji by the ancient Mesopotamians, the Duat or Aminta by the ancient Egyptians, Hades or the underworld by Europeans, Xibalba by the Mayans, and in modern times, the concept of the inner Earth has given rise to what is called the hollow Earth theory. Unbeknownst to many human beings, the activities of these beings which reside inside the Earth has affected the course of human history and human development. The first and most noble of the beings which resides inside the Earth is called the Shayuk. Compared to human beings, the Shayuk would be considered geniuses with exceptional intelligence, and telepathic and telekinetic abilities. The Shayuk have a dark brown skin complexion, they are between 5 feet to 7 feet tall, and their heads, brains, and cranial capacity is much wider and larger than the average human. The Shayuk come to the Earth's surface occasionally to teach and to trade with certain tribes of human beings. The teachings of the Shayuk are so profound that when they come to the Earth's surface to teach, they are often called deities, gods, priests, prophets, messengers, and seers, and because of this fact, the Shayuk have strict laws which limit the interaction of Shayuk tribal members' contact with the humans on the surface. The Shayuk commonly interact and have mixed in with the surface world humans called the Danakil or Danakil, also known as the Afar people, in present-day Eritrea, Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Somalia. The The chief of the Shayuk is named King Fukur, and his daughter is named Princess Radiya, and two of his brothers are named Emo and Yashak, who has always been jealous of his brother King Fukur. King Fukur's brother Emo had fallen in love with a surface-dwelling human female, and he would sneak to the surface world to visit her, and would also pass himself off to the surface-dwelling humans as a psychic and a magician, and for these acts, Emo was exiled to live on the surface, 20 miles outside of the present-day city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia. As long as the people in the inner earth spent most of their life in the inner earth, then they will not die. However, to be exiled to the surface world means a person from inner earth will eventually die like the mortals on the surface. In the caverns adjacent to the Shayuk, resides another group of nobles called the Sinin. The
Okay,
Sinin are also
Dave, stop
highly
it right there.
intelligent, but also have a
Very interesting, huh? So as long as you live in the inner earth, you will never die. I'm wondering if we can find our way to the inner earth, and as long as we stay down there, will we live forever? I wonder how true that is. That's a very interesting thing, right? The people who live in the inner earth, as long as they live down there, they'll never die. What's down there? What kind of energy is down there that's keeping them alive? And why is that energy contained only in the inner earth and has it risen up to the surface? How and here's another thing. How is it that they're able to come to and from the surface and that energy hasn't escaped? That's a very, very interesting thing. So to be exiled from the inner earth is sure death, because now all of a sudden you become mortal. Even with all your brain power, you become mortal. And now you have your clock is ticking. It's very interesting, you know. Why would someone risk being exiled from a place where they can live forever? Just asking that question. Go ahead, Dan.
Sinin. The Sinin are also highly intelligent, but also have a fighting spirit. The Sinin are between 5 feet to 7 feet tall and have a variety of complexions from yellow to brown, and they are hairless and are most noted for their cone-shaped heads. The
Okay,
Sinin commonly interact and have
stop.
mixed with serpents.
The Sini, yellow to brown with cone-shaped heads. The Sini, skin tone yellow. I've never seen a yellow person before. The Sini are yellow in complexion and brown, and they have cone-shaped heads. And they are warriors. Interesting. Play, Dan.
And are most noted for their cone-shaped heads. The Sinin commonly interact and have mixed with surface world humans, including the ancient Egyptians, the Olmecs in present-day Central America, the Mangitog people in the African Congo, and the Paracas people in Peru. The chief of the Sinin is named King Lamsa.
So apparently this explains some of the people that they found in Egypt with these really large oblong heads. Okay? These weren't deformities. Apparently they made it with the Sini, who were yellow in complexion and had cone-shaped heads. Now, when I see a cone, I'm thinking about something that goes straight up, pointed at the top and wide at the base. Apparently the people that they made it with had oblong-shaped type heads. I don't know if you can call them cone heads, but they did have rather large, long craniums. Play it, Dan.
And his daughter is named Princess Lucina, and his son is named Prince Atif. One of the wretched group of beings which resides inside the earth is called the Samin. The Samin are grotesquely obese, pale, with long elephant-like noses, and are very negative and aggressive. The Samin were actually the manifested evil grafted out of the Sinin on their home world prior to these beings arriving on Earth. Since the Samin were grafted out of the Sinin, it is the responsibility of the Sinin to police and keep in check the evil activities of the Samin. It is said
Okay,
that an
stop.
American named Richard
Interesting names, y'all. Sini and Sony. Sony. Elephant-like noses. Apparently they were grafted. So here's what I don't understand. If you're coming from a planet that's being destroyed by evil, why would you bring the evil with you? Because apparently the Sony are a bunch of reckless, elephant nose MFers. Why would you bring them with you? Why not leave them on the planet? Why bring evil with you? I don't. That makes no sense to me. If you're trying to escape evil, why bring the evil with you? Interesting names, right? Sini and Sony. Sony. Go ahead, Dan.
to police and keep in check the evil activities of the Samin. It is said that an American named Richard Sharpshaver encountered the Sinin and called them the Turos, meaning interrogative robot, and he also encountered the Samin and called them Duros, meaning detrimental robot. One day, the wretched Samin raided and invaded the village of the Shayuk, stealing food and terrorizing the Shayuk family. When King Fukur found out about this invasion by the Samin, he sent a telepathic message to King Lamsa stating that the Sinin has neglected their responsibility to keep the Samin in check, because the Samin were currently raiding and invading the village of the Shayuk. Upon receiving the telepathic message from King Fukur, King Lamsa went with his brethren to the caverns of the Shayuk to stop the invasion by the Samin and to drive the Samin back to whence they came. After driving the Samin away from the lands of the Shayuk, King Lamsa apologized to King Fukur, but tension remained between the Shayuk and the Sinin for some time after the incident. In order to make peace between the Shayuk and the Sinin, King Lamsa offered his daughter Princess Lucina to be a wife of King Fukur. King Fukur accepted the peace offering from King Lamsa, and in turn offered his daughter Princess Radiya to be the wife of King Lamsa's son Prince Atif, as was the custom, and there was peace in the land for some time between the two tribes of the Shayuk and the Sinin. However, King Lamsa's daughter Princess Lucina was angered and outraged because she did not want her father to give her away to be the wife of the Shayuk King Fukur. Princess Lucina felt like an outcast and out of place living amongst the Shayuk people, and she did not like living by the strict laws of the Shayuk people. Princess Lucina always wanted to marry a man from her own people the Sinin, and she did not want to be married to a Shayuk man. One day Princess Lucina, now the unhappy wife of King Fukur, met Yashak, the jealous brother of King Fukur, and they conspired together based on their hatred for King Fukur to have an illicit sexual affair together behind the back of King Fukur. Princess Lucina and Yashak would travel to the surface world to the home of Emo, the exiled brother of King Fukur and Yashak, and it is here where they would have their illicit affair.
Very interesting, right? She hates the king. His brother hates him too. So they get together and come up with this plan that, hey, you hate my brother, I hate him too. Let's have sex and create an evil child that will someday create the white man. Isn't that interesting? They got together and they said, hey, you hate my brother. Imagine dude with this big old head showing up, right? Hey, baby, I know you hate my brother. I hate him too. Let's do the big head intelligent thing and have angry hatred sex. And our hatred for my brother will get into the child. The child will come out hating my brother, and he will create the white man. She was like, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go have heated sex filled with hatred for my brother, so we can have an evil child. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Dan.
The exiled brother of King Fukur and Yashak, and it is here where they would have their illicit affair. This affair between Princess Lucina and Yashak went on for months with them sneaking back and forth from the inner earth to the surface world, and eventually Princess Lucina became pregnant. In her pregnant state, Princess Lucina would not return to the land of the inner earth, but would remain at the home of Emo, and Yishak would stay with her. It was here in the home of Emo, 20 miles outside of the present-day city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia, where the child Yakub was born to Yishak and Princess Lucina. The child Yakub, being part Shayuk and part Sinin, had an enormous head the size of 2 men, and he also had 2 brains. Knowing that they could not return to the inner earth because their affair had now produced a child, Yishak and Princess Lucina decided to live and raise the baby Yakub for 5 years in the home of Emo, 20 miles outside of the present-day city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Yakub's father Yishak would work as a scientist and a priest amongst the humans on the surface, calling himself by the title Mornuakan, the last high priest. Back in inner earth, Yishak and Princess Lucina had been missing for years, and eventually it was found out by King Fukur about the affair between his wife Princess Lucina and his brother Yishak. King Fukur ordered his soldiers to go to the home of his brother Emo and arrest Yishak for his crime, and according to the laws of the Shayuk, Yishak was put to death. Princess Lucina's life was spared because she now had a child to take care of, but her punishment was to remain exiled to the surface world living in the home of Emo, and to never return to inner earth. Depressed about her inability to return home, overwhelmed by her
I don't understand here. Were these people practicing absentee fatherhood? So you go and kill the father because he had angry sex filled with hatred. So you killed him and don't allow him to raise the boy, and you leave the boy with the mother. So was this so-called super race of black beings with all of these brains, were they making single baby mamas?
Well,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't make a single baby mama. They were together.
Mhm.
They when they found out about the affair,
Mhm.
they went arrested the guy, killed him, and left
Right.
her
So
with the baby. But
right. And
that
turned
wasn't
her
his
into a
baby.
single baby. Right, but turned her into a single baby mama.
Yeah.
Play it, Jam.
Yeah.
earth. Depressed about her inability to return home, overwhelmed by her new responsibility to raise a child, and saddened by the death of her lover Yishak, Princess Lucina kills herself by committing suicide. The 5-year-old child Yakub, now an orphan, is raised by his uncle Emo, and the child Yakub is emotionally disturbed and rebellious because of the death of his parents. The child Yakub grows to hate his people the Shayuk, and he also grows to hate all dark-complexioned people because he blames them for the death of his parents. The child Yakub desires to have his revenge when he grows up. Yakub starts school at the age of 4, and is teased and mocked about the size of his head by the surface-dwelling human children. This mockery and teasing about the size of his head that Yakub experienced as a child created low self-esteem, and further infuriated the already deranged Yakub, fueling his desire for revenge. Yakub's uncle Emo would tell Yakub stories about the beings in the inner earth and how the Samin were the manifestation of the evil grafted out of Yakub's mother's family the Sinin. One day, when Yakub was 6 years old, he was playing with 2 steel magnets in the home of his uncle Emo, and Yakub noticed the magnetic power of attraction and repulsion that unlike attracts, and like repels. By observing this, Yakub was inspired with a determined idea to create a tribe unlike any of the people on the surface of the planet, and this unlike tribe would be weak and wicked, and attract the other tribes on the surface of the planet, and rule over them with the knowledge of tricks and lies for 6,000 years. Upon coming to this realization, Yakub looked up at his uncle Emo and said, "Uncle, when I get to be an old man, I am going to make a people who shall rule you." Uncle Emo said, "What will you make? Someone to make mischief and cause bloodshed in the land." Yakub responded to his uncle Emo by saying, "Nevertheless, uncle, I know that which you do not know," and it was at that moment, the boy Yakub first came into the knowledge of just who he was, born to make trouble, break peace, kill and destroy, and be the enemy to the Ebonite people of Earth. Yakub knew in order to accomplish his plan he would have to study science, biology, and genetics.
Sounds like he came with the knowledge of self, huh? You heard that term before, right? Knowledge of self. So he came into knowledge of self, and that knowledge told him that he's here to cause all kinds of havoc and destruction to us. Now, here's what I got a problem with. How did we get involved? We're not related to them. They came from another planet. We were on this planet minding our own business. That shit is between them. The Chinook, the Cine, the Sony. We don't have shit to do. How did we get dragged into this? That's what I got a problem with. Okay, you hate your people. They shitted on you. They killed your mama. I can dig it. But why drag us into it? We had nothing to do with that shit. I'm just saying. Play it, Dan.
Well, they said he hated all dark skinned people. And then he was teased as a kid by the children on the surface.
I understand that, but goddamn, you couldn't get over that. I mean, you want to kill all of us too? I mean, we ain't had shit to do with that.
Oh, that shows the power, anger, and hatred.
Play it.
Then he was born. He was conceived in it, born in it.
Play it, Dan.
Would have to study science, biology, and genetics. Yakub was a child prodigy in school, being exceptionally smarter than the surface-dwelling humans he was going to school with, and by the age of 18, Yakub had finished all of the colleges and universities of his nation. While in college, Yakub was mocked and teased being called the big head scientist. After graduating from the colleges and universities of his nation, Yakub began to preach a new doctrine to the people in the city. Yakub called his new doctrine Tricknology, and his holy book was called the Book of Tricknology of 120 Degrees. Yakub taught that if people followed his doctrine, then they would be able to rule the world for 6,000 years, and make slaves out of everyone else on the earth. Yakub made such impressions on the people that many people began following him. The children who once mocked and teased Yakub were now requesting to be part of what he was teaching. The girls who once laughed at Yakub were now women who desired him. As Yakub's teachings spread, he made more and more converts to his new doctrine, and the power of Yakub's doctrine began to intimidate the king of the surface-dwelling humans, who ordered to have Yakub and all of his followers thrown in prison. The police arrested all of Yakub's followers and put them in prison, and filled up all of the prison cells with Yakub's followers.
Stop.
However, there was not enough space.
Something very interesting here, people, that just popped up. He said his doctrine of tricknology will allow you to rule over people for 6,000 years. I'm wondering if this is where they get the Willie Lynch thing from.
Well, sound like it. Well. They have something.
Might be where the root of it.
I want to see this so-called tricknology. I want to study it all.
Yeah, I guess we got to look at that to see if it's, if it's if that language was translated into the Willie Lynch letters.
Hey, that's another thing. This guy, they said this guy graduated all of the universities and colleges of his nation.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? I mean, did he go to every goddamn college in the state?
Must be.
And this is 6,000 years ago.
Well,
there were universities back then?
Well, they talk about the mysterious schools or something like that in Egypt, the Kemet. So they did have schools then. So
6,000 years ago.
But I would guess if he has, he had two brains, so it's kind of like double the processing power. So I guess you would be able to learn quicker than normal humans.
The thing about it was, according to this, he was emotionally disturbed and deranged. So with all that brain capacity, Him being deranged must have been on another level.
Probably gave
I
him a
mean,
more, probably gave him more of a focus.
yeah, it must have been on another. That had to be on another level.
Yeah.
Okay, play it, Dane.
All of the prison cells with Yakub's followers. However, there was not enough space to put all of Yakub's followers in jail, therefore there were still some people free who were spreading Yakub's teachings. The police notified the king that they did not have enough space for all of Yakub's followers, and at that point the king decided to go to Yakub's prison cell and negotiate a deal. The king went to visit Yakub in his prison cell and the king said, "So you are Mr. Yakub?" Yakub said, "Yes, I am." The king said, "Yakub, I have come to see if we could work out some agreement that would bring about an end to this trouble. What would you suggest?" Yakub said to the king, "If you give me and my followers everything to start a civilization, and furnish us with money and other necessities of life for 20 years, I will take my followers and we will leave." The king was pleased with the deal offered by Yakub, and agreed to take care of them for 20 years, until Yakub's followers were able to go for themselves. After 20 years, the government began to make preparation for the exiling of Yakub and his followers. The king ordered everyone rounded up who was a believer in Yakub's doctrine, and they took them to the seaport and loaded them on ships. When Yakub and his followers departed, there were a total of 59,999 followers plus Yakub, making 60,000 total people on 100 ships. Yakub and his fleet of ships departed from an area 20 miles outside of the present-day city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia, and set sail on the Red Sea, and sailed all the way around the continent of Africa to go to their destination, which was the area which is currently called the island of Patmos, or Palam, in the Aegean Sea. While on the ships sailing around Africa to get to the area which is currently called the island of Patmos, Yakub began the second part of his plan, which was a eugenics human graftation experiment. Even though all of the people on the surface of the earth were of one tribe, the Ebenoid tribe, there was still some variation within the Ebenoid tribe, and Yakub began to highlight these differences, and Yakub...
Interesting. The term eugenics just popped up. Maybe there is something to this Yakub. I mean, we know that Margaret Singer and the rest of them nutcases believed in eugenics very deeply. Perhaps they favored Yakub because he's the father of their race, or they believe that he's the father of their race. Interesting.
I'm really
Let us find out. Let us find out that white people worship a black man.
I was just wondering why they didn't just kill Yakub and his followers if that was that big of a threat.
I know, right? I mean, they killed Jesus for less.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think because most people are very evil. You know, a lot of people have wickedness in them because of the society that they live in. Maybe back then there was a lot of wickedness going on in people. Now, even evil people, a lot of evil people are extremely smart. I was telling people before that truly evil people, most of them are vegetarians. They don't eat meat. They don't eat bad foods because they know how important it is to keep their mind healthy. So a lot of these evil people are geniuses, and even though they're evil, they still mesmerize people. There was a guy who tapped into a bank, several banks, and stole a nickel out of everybody's account, and did this for years, and accumulated untold amounts of money. He was eventually caught by the FBI, right? Instead of putting him in jail, they picked his brain and gave him a job. So even sometimes, even evil people can mesmerize you to the point where, like, well, damn, I can't believe he pulled this off. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes that's the way it is. He may have had people mesmerized with his technology, and you know.
Yeah.
So, but we have. I want to see this trick knowledge. I want to see this trick knowledge
Yeah.
because I've heard this term before. Play it, Dane.
There was still some variation within the Ebenoid tribe, and Yakub began to highlight these differences, and Yakub taught these people that they were special, because Yakub planned to use them to graft his new tribe. Yakub developed his theory by studying his own genetics under the microscope and noticing that there were two different genes in him, one gene that was dark from his father Yishak's family the Shayuk, and the other that was not dark from his mother Princess Lucina's family the Sinin. Yakub began to have children with the women on this ship, and the babies which were born that were a lighter complexion he would spare their life, but the babies which were born which were of a darker complexion, Yakub would have thrown overboard into the ocean. Yakub felt if he could
All
successfully
right, stop.
separate the darker gene from the lighter gene.
Wow. Are we witnessing the birth of colorism?
Yeah.
And throwing babies overboard because they were dark skinned? Could this be why white people hate black people so much? Because they get it from this guy? I'm still shocked as to what we have to do with all of this. We had nothing to do with the death of his mother. We had nothing to do with them having an affair. That was the Chinook's business. Why are we being dragged into this? That's why I'm still having a problem with it. I'm like, okay, if you want to hate dark-skinned people, can you keep that to your own race? We had nothing to do with that.
Well, except for his uncle, he never seen anybody of his mother's race or his of his father's race.
Well,
So
his
all
mother's
he
race is the
dealt with was
Sini.
these other people.
Right, she comes from the Sini. Those are light-skinned people, and then what the Sony was grafted from them, and they were yellow. So I guess they were way lighter than the Sini, right? So this is a very interesting story. I'm starting to see now where certain things come from, or at least where they get it from. I'm wondering if white people actually believe this guy existed. Now that's really got me thinking. Forget about what black people think. I'm wondering now if white people believe this guy existed, because they seem to have his talking points.
Mm.
Yeah, white people seem to be running around here spewing his talking points.
Oh, they're never gonna believe a dark-skinned man is their god. So
They might believe it.
They might believe it, but to the public, they probably, lighten it
Right.
up, something like
no,
that.
they're not
Yeah.
going to accept it.
Yeah, but behind closed doors, he's probably their God. He created them.
Yeah, well, they whitewashed him. I'm
That's
telling
what I'm
you.
saying.
I think
Well, no,
after
he white. No. He whitewashed himself.
yeah. But in
He
their
started with
mind,
he started with his own seeds.
yeah. But
Right.
in his so in his own mind, in their own mind, after 6,000 years, there's no way he's a dark-skinned man. Their mind, he's gonna be the same skin color as them.
No. What I'm saying is, you're talking about he got whitewashed, right? No, he whitewashed himself. He started with his own seeds. He discovered that he had two genes in his body. One was dark from his father, and one was light for his mother. He wanted the one that was light from his mother. So he started having babies with the women that was, I think they said he had a ship, right?
Uh-huh.
And so the dark skinned babies he would throw over the ship, and he would keep the light skinned babies. So he whitewashed himself,
Yeah.
and I think this is where white people get it from. This is starting to get real interesting. I never thought about it that this way. Now I'm thinking about it more. I'm more interested in white people now than anything else. Because the more this stuff comes out, I can't help thinking about white people. I can't help thinking about it. I'm wondering if this is where they get their doctrines from.
Mm-hmm.
Play it, Dane. Yeah, it sounds like it. Play it, Dane.
overboard into the ocean. Yakub felt if he could successfully separate the darker gene from the lighter gene, then he could graft the Ebenoid tribe into its last stage, which would be albinoid. Yakub planned to create a tribe of albinoids, which he discovered was weaker than the Ebenoid gene, which would be unalike, to rule the Ebenoid nation for 6,000 years. When Yakub's followers found out about his new wicked plan, and learned that he was killing and throwing babies overboard into the ocean, 95% of his followers lost their loyalty to Yakub, and abandoned his mission and jumped ship. As Yakub's fleet of ships sailed around Africa, people who lost loyalty to his mission would jump ship into the areas which are now Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Djibouti, Somalia, Mozambique, Namibia, Senegal, Morocco, and Tunisia. 10% of the original 60,000 of Yakub's followers betrayed Yakub and jumped ship. 85% of the original 60,000 of Yakub's followers jumped ship because they were confused why he would do such a horrible thing, leaving only 5% of the original
Stop. What ship is holding 60,000 people?
I think he said
What?
multiple ships. Not
Okay,
just one.
okay. So he had to have a fleet.
Right.
Because I just heard one. I must have missed it. I heard one ship. 60,000 people. Okay. Look at where they jump ship at. Morocco, Mozambique, Kenya. So they pretty much spread all throughout Africa.
Right.
Okay. So he's sailing around Africa because I guess that was where I don't understand why he would be doing that, because he hates dark-skinned people. I don't get it. Oh, okay. Well, whites didn't exist yet. He had to create them. Okay, so he needed to get people. Okay, this is very interesting because, okay, let's pick it up because he lost his followers. Okay, Dame, pick it up from there.
Only 5% of the original 60,000 of Yakub's followers who actually made it to their destination of the island of Patmos in the Aegean Sea. As king on his island, Yakub set up birth control and Planned Parenthood laws which would contribute to his plan of negative eugenics and genocide to breed his albinoid tribe. Yakub made it a law that only the light
birth control and Planned Parenthood laws? This was 6,000 years ago. If this is true, then this guy is most certainly the father of the white race, because they are parenting all of his ideals, even down to birth control and Planned Parenthood with Margaret Sanger and the rest of her psychotic group of eugenicists.
Yeah, he literally wrote their playbook for them.
Yeah, he wrote their Bible. Planned Parenthood laws, birth control, 6,000 years ago. This is getting deeper, man. To heck with black people, I'm on white people now. I'm wondering what the hell. The more I hear this, the more white people come into play. This is helping me understand more white people than anything else. Play it, Dane.
of eugenics and genocide to breed his albinoid tribe. Yakub made it a law that only the lighter complexioned people could have children. People with darker complexions were put to death, and when children were born, nurses were ordered to have the darker babies killed by pricking the brains with a sharp needle as soon as the child's head was out of the mother, but the lighter babies were allowed to live. Yakub's aim was to kill and destroy the Ebenoid nation. Yakub would have the dead bodies of the darker babies fed to wild beasts, and if they could not find a wild beast to feed the bodies to, they would take the dead bodies of the babies to a cremator to be burned. This is the level of intense hatred Yakub had in his heart.
Stop.
This process went.
In slavery, they did all of these things. They fed babies to alligators. They cremated people. They did all of these things. What is going on here? I mean, are we witnessing the doctrine of white ideology? That they got their hatred from a black man? That they got their hatred from black. Think about this for a second. They got their hatred for us, from one of us. I understand the love for your mother. I really do. I love my mother to death. But would I carry that kind of hatred for all the years that I live on this earth? Absolutely not. I may fuck a couple of motherfuckers up in the moment, but that hatred is going to subside. You got to be absolutely psychotic or crazy or deranged to continue to have. How can you even fuel that kind of energy to continue to have this kind of hatred for hundreds of years? That don't even make any sense.
Well, first of all, he's an alien. Yakub is an alien. He's a mixture of two different aliens.
Right.
And so if the white is since the if the white people are descended from him, they're mixed human and alien.
That's
Okay.
interesting too,
Yeah.
because there's evidence of that.
Okay. Okay. I kind of. Okay. So the Sunni and the Sony. Okay. So his mother was part of the Sony.
No. She
Yeah.
was a Sunni.
Sunni. Okay. They were human, or were
Nope,
they
they were
alien?
not. Nope,
No,
they
they
were
were
not
alien.
alien.
Okay. They both were alien races.
Uh.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
This is what. Uh.
but
okay. So
their
he
child grew up among human beings. He, except for his uncle, he never met another alien.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they
Mm-mm.
were exiled from.
Right. And so he grew up amongst humans, which is pissing me off because why they bring their shit over to us? Why they keep that shit in the center of the earth?
Because they couldn't hide in the center of Earth. Everybody was gonna
I'm
spot
just
them.
saying though. I mean, those are family problems. We ain't got shit to do with that. Why don't y'all keep that shit in the center of the earth?
Yeah,
Bring that shit out here to us.
why didn't they take the poor alien mixed child back down to uh, uh,
Yeah,
the
the center of
center
the
of the
earth,
Earth where he would have fit
which is
in?
called, which is called the essence. Why didn't you stay your ass in the essence with all that fucking hatred?
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't that remind you of Black Panther when
That's what I was
Killmonger?
thinking of.
Yeah, that was the same. This is pretty much the same story,
Really?
except
Yeah,
except for the whole thing with sleeping with the wife and all
going
that
along
kind of stuff.
with the wife,
But
but
Okay, lay
he
it on me. Lay it on me. Lay it on me, man. I don't see the connection. Lay it on me.
okay, remember in Black Panther, the
Mhm.
the uncle was he was a plant for the outside world, but he
Right,
got
right. Uh
influenced
huh.
by it.
Uh huh.
And he wanted to get the weapons from Wakanda to go attack the white people for the black people that were suffering. But the
Right,
king of Wakanda at the time didn't want to do that. They wanted to
right,
stay in that. This is kind of similar. And
right.
when the uncle he killed the uncle, they left the boy there by himself.
Yes, yes, yes. Right.
So
And you know what? You're right because
and he was raised by his mother.
right, but you see, his mother died too.
right,
His mother died too, if I'm not mistaken. His mother died too.
right. Same thing
So in
here.
this, right,
It's kind of the circumstances are a little different, but it's still the same thing. They left that boy with the mother instead of taking the boy back to where they were supposed to be and raising him there and leaving her wherever she
you know,
was.
this is a very interesting story. When I listened to this the first time, I never listened to it this way with other people. This is a very interesting story because he sounds like the father of white people. The more you get into the story,
Well,
the more I keep seeing white people. Huh?
exactly.
Well,
He
we've been
didn't
saying
just
there are
create the white people out of the essence. The way they made it, he created the white people out of essence and threw them out in the world to be wild. Now he created them from his own seed
Hatred.
and hatred.
Mhm.
He hated his own people. And then again,
No, no,
I got
he
a
didn't hate his
problem.
own people. He hated the people he grew up with, which was the
Right,
black
but
folks, because they made fun of his hair.
He hated his own people because he told his uncle that he was going to create a people that was going to rule over him.
Right.
That's what he told his uncle. His uncle was an alien. My problem with the whole goddamn thing is, now I got a problem with King Shakur and all them other big head niggas. Why didn't y'all keep that shit down there? Why did you exile him up here with us? Now you fucking hate us too, and we ain't had shit to do with it.
Yeah, that's the big. That is the big problem here.
Now I got a problem with King Shakur now. I got a problem with that motherfucker now. And according to, if you stay in the center of the earth, you live forever. So he's still alive, according to what they're saying. Man, I wish we could have a damn an excursion down to be. I want to talk to them. Hey, man, you fucked us up by exiling your pieces of shit to the surface. Now he fucking our race up.
By leaving that your nephew stepson down
now y'all living down here in the center of the earth and shit, all peaceful. We up here going through it with these devils that he created, that he meant for you.
Right? Don't that sound like the story of Killmonger?
Yeah.
When he went back to Wakanda, he told him something similar.
Yeah, and you know what? His problem was with the king at the time who killed his father. And I don't blame him, because now I got a problem with the king that killed Yakub's mother. King Shakur, I got a problem with him now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What the fuck are you doing, man? You exiled him up here with us. And he grew up amongst us, hating us. When that hatred was meant for you, man.
Yep.
Yo, we need to go into that essence and deal and have an audience with King Shakur. Hey, man, come get your mans in there.
Yep.
Before we come down here and blow this motherfucker up.
Just like when T'Challa went to talk to his father when he was, between life and death. He told him pretty much the same thing. You caused this problem for me.
That's right. Yeah, we need to go in the essence. Hey, man, come get your mans in them, yo. Before we come down here and blow this motherfucker up, won't nobody be living down here. Get your little army, whatever you got to do, and come get your mans in them, yo.
Yeah, they wilding up here. We got problems here. Come get all these people.
Man? They're fucking with us. Yeah, we ain't got shit to do with this. This between you and your little big-headed, egg-head nigga and his mama and all that. We ain't got nothing to do with that. Come get your mans in there, man, before we blow this motherfucker up. We'll cave this motherfucker in. Won't none of y'all be living down here. Shit. Play it, Dane.
Okay.
To a cremator to be burned. This is the level of intense hatred Yakub had in his heart. This process went on for years on Yakub's island as Yakub trained his sons in
Let's give a shout out to Kendall. Hey, Kendall. We find this to be very, very interesting. It's a very interesting story, man. We're starting to get some insight on a few things. It's turning out to be a very interesting story. Play it, Dane.
Grandsons to carry on his work after he died. Yakub died at the age of 150 years old from a brain tumor. As the father of technology, Yakub taught his people a doctrine which would enable them to rule the world for 6,000 years. Yakub also taught his people that God is a spirit and a spook and not a man. And Yakub was the founder of the doctrine that unalike attracts and like repels.
Wow,
After 200 years on Yakub's island.
Wow. So he's the one that gave you religion. God is the spirit of the spook and not a man. So he the one that gave you religion too. This deranged nutcase gave you your religion. We gotta find. Hey man, hey Dave, when we done, we gotta research this trick knowledge, this trick knowledge thing. I need to see this trick knowledge. I need to see some doctrine of this trick knowledge. You know, go ahead, play it.
Yakub was the founder of the doctrine that unalike attracts and like repels. After 200 years on Yakub's island, all of the darker babies had been done away with, and all babies were born of a new tribe called the Rubedoid tribe. After another 200 years, all babies were born of an even newer tribe called the Citrinoid tribe. And finally, after another 200 years, which makes 600 years total, all the babies born on Yakub's island were of Yakub's desired albinoid tribe. It took 600 years to breed Yakub's albinoid tribe, and every imagination of their heart and all of their actions were wicked continuously. The evilness of the albinoids not only affected themselves, but also affected the other peoples of the world. Yakub's albinoids returned to the city where they were exiled from. Once back in the city, it took only 6 months for Yakub's albinoids to cause chaos and war amongst the Ebenoid people. The king of the Ebenoid people realized that it was Yakub's albinoids who were causing all the trouble, and the king made a decree to drive Yakub's evil albinoids from amongst them. The king rounded up all of Yakub's albinoids and stripped them of their clothing, and put an apron on them to hide their nakedness, and sent his army with them across the desert to cross the burning sands into the place which is modern-day Europe. Yakub's albinoids were roped into the mountains and caves, and the king's army would patrol the area to make sure Yakub's albinoids stayed in the mountains and caves for 2,000 years to ensure that these people are kept away from
Okay,
the
stop.
Ebenoid people.
That was dumb. That was dumb. Why didn't you just smoke them?
That's
You
what I've
rounded
been
them all
saying.
up. Why didn't you just take them out?
That's what I've been saying from the get-go. Like, why you didn't kill
Fucking
these
dumb.
people when you had the chance?
Right, you knew
I
who they
don't.
were. You round them all up. Take them out.
Wow.
So
There's
this
so
is the
many.
origin. Right, so this is the origin, the so-called origin of them being in the caves of the Caucasus Mountains.
Yep.
So he thought he banished them to a life of death where they would live amongst animals, but they survived. And they was discovered by yet more black people who brought them out of the caves. Apparently didn't know who they really were. Unbelievable. Now we see why white people have such a hatred for dark-skinned people. They may be of the seed of Yakub. Go ahead, Dane.
Stayed in the mountains and caves for 2,000 years to ensure that these people are kept away from the Ebenoid people. During this 2,000-year period living in the mountains and caves without anything to start civilization, Yakub's albinoids became shameless, and lost all sense of shame and started going nude, and in the winter they wore animal skins for clothes and grew hair all over their bodies and faces like all the other wild animals. Yakub's albinoids tamed the wolves and dogs to live in the caves with them, and after some time the dog held a high place among their family, becoming their best friend. After 2,000 years of living in the caves, the wickedness of
Stop.
Yakub's albinoids was observed, and an Ebenoid.
So this is why white people have a very strong affinity to dogs.
Yep. Dogs and wolves.
Yeah. They said the dog held a high place amongst their people.
Mm-hmm.
This even tell you why some white women fall in love with dogs to the point where they want to marry them,
Yep.
have sex with them. This is
Yeah.
insane. This can't be true, man. This is too much of a coincidence. Say it ain't so. It's got to be a lie, right? I mean, this got to be made up, right? This can't be true.
I mean, it really just explains pretty much everything, and it even explains, black people's willingness to forgive.
Yeah. This is incredible, man. This unbelievable, man.
Yeah. Simply can't believe it. All right.
Play it.
Okay, okay.
This is really, really
After
interesting.
2,000 years of living in the caves, the wickedness of Yakub's albinoids was observed, and an ebenoid man named Moshe was sent to civilize them. Moshe led Yakub's albinoids out of the caves. However, once out of the
Oh,
caves,
stop.
Yakub's albinoids killed.
Moshe was a Moor, by the way. He was a Moor. I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead, play it.
Moshe. Free from the caves, Yakub's albinoids went on a rampage throughout the earth, conquering and subjecting the ebenoid people, pitting one against the other using the idea of divide and conquer. Yakub's albinoids began to execute Yakub's plan for them to rule the world for 6,000 years. A man named Mahamdu attempted to teach Yakub's albinoids to convince them to end their devilishment. However, this was still 1400 years before the end of Yakub's albinoids' 6,000-year period of dominion over the earth. And so, Yakub's albinoids ruled the earth for 6,000 years, spreading their devilishment, evil, pain, suffering, and oppression to the ebenoid people of the earth as designed by the big head scientist Yakub. The events of Yakub occurred approximately 6,600 years ago, and the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth foresaw the birth of Yakub 15,000 years ago. This history, or future, of Yakub and his people was predicted and foretold by the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth 8,400 years before the birth of Yakub. The 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth were aware of the birth of Yakub, and they were aware of the things Yakub would do before Yakub was even born. The 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth predicted that in the year 8,400, this man Yakub would be born, and when this man was born, he will change civilization in the world, and produce a new tribe of people, who would rule the original ebenoid people for 6,000 years, from the 9,000th year to the 15,000th year. After the 6,000-year rule of Yakub's people, the ebenoid people would give birth to one whose wisdom, knowledge and power would be infinite. One whom the world would recognize as being the greatest and mightiest since the creation of the universe, and that Yakub's old warring wicked world would be removed and destroyed, and the ebenoid nation would be restored into power to rule forever and to establish a world of peace and righteousness.
Okay,
This
stop.
great redeemer of the ebenoid.
So apparently our Savior hasn't been born yet. Is 6,000 years up? Has this super black man been born? Anybody get any wind of an exceptional black kid, whether it be male or female, that possess some kind of super intellect or insight? Maybe we start, searching. I mean, this thing has got me tripping, man. Now I'm not even sure. I'm doubting that. I'm not even sure. I don't get it. Now I'm having doubts because when you look at this story, it connects into everything. It connects into white people, their behavior, black people and their behavior. It connects into, it pretty much tells the story of our lives here on this planet. At one time I didn't think this was real. I'm not so sure now. I mean, I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm pulling back for a minute because I don't think this is a coincidence. There's too much powerful information here. Play it, Dan.
People who was predicted by the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth to bring balance back into the world, is known under many names, titles,
No.
and attributes
Stop.
including he who has no equal.
No, I didn't say I was a believer. I just say I'm just taking another look. I'm not there yet as a believer because you're right. They could have just made this up. They could have just made this connect because it does sound very, very detailed. Like it was fitted to everything that ever happened. So yeah, it could be. It still could be a Fugazi story. I'm with you on that, Auntie. It still could be Fugazi. You know. No, I'm not a believer, but I am getting a little pause though, because some of this stuff, I don't know. Either somebody made Yakub up from studying white people, or it's the other way around. Play it, Dane.
Back into the world, is known under many names, titles, and attributes including, he who has no equal, he who there never was anyone like, the supreme being, the mighty, the wise, the best knower, the light, the life giver, the guide, the all-powerful, he who knows how to reproduce the universe and the people of his choice. But his mother calls him Yashmal. Yashmal was the son of Princess Radiya of the Shayuk family, and Prince Atif the Sinin family. Yashmal's parents, Princess Radiya and Prince Atif, married each other in order to establish peace between their two quarreling tribes. However, the union of Princess Radiya and Prince Atif was more than mere chance. Their union was specifically guided, selected, and arranged by the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth who were also genetic engineers. They knew that the offspring of the union between Princess Radiya and Prince...
Okay, so 24 wise elder scientists foretold the story of this nutcase coming. And he's going to do all of these things. Why nothing was said in the... Okay, I don't get it. Because in the beginning of the story, King Shakur had to find out what was going down. So apparently somebody didn't give him the memo of the 24 elders who told him that this nigga was going to be born and all the shit that he was going to do. Nobody lifted a finger to stop this shit. I mean, you knew where he was going to be born at. He was going to be born on the surface between so-and-so and so-and-so. Why was nobody there with a goddamn machete to cut his damn head off? You knew what he was going to do. The 24 wise elders told you what he was going to do. I don't understand. Now I'm starting to trip, man. This story is bugging. Go ahead, Dane.
They knew that the offspring of the union between Princess Radiya and Prince Atif would be the personification of order to balance out and offset the chaos of Yakub, who was the offspring of Yishak and Princess Lucina. Yashmal began his education on the day he was born, as is the custom amongst members of the Shayuk. It would be unheard of for a member of the Shayuk to wait until the age of 4 to start school unless the child was mentally handicapped. Being part Shayuk and part Sinin, Yashmal's head was noticeably larger than the other members of the Shayuk and Sinin. Yashmal had an enormous head, 2 brains, and a third enlarged pineal gland which sat in the center of his 2 brains, making the top of his head appearing to be shaped like 3 orbs. Amongst the Shayuk and Sinin, Yashmal would be called the big head scientist. However, amongst these tribes, this statement was not taken to be an insult, but rather a compliment, alluding to the individual's intelligence in the same way that saying big muscles alludes to an individual.
Okay, has anybody wondered something? How are the women giving birth to these big head dudes? Is there some cesarean section going on? Like, apparently, I don't know if their heads can fit through the birth canal. Dame, can you speak on that? Like,
I'm assuming their birth canal is different, or their hips are wider and the opening down there is wider. Because if they give birth to big-headed people, of course their anatomy is gonna change. Is gonna be created to do that. Otherwise, the women die every time they give birth.
Right, and you don't hear nothing about a miscarriage or anything.
Well,
apparently this dude, and apparently this guy Yash, and apparently this Yashmal guy had the biggest head of them all.
But notice that where he grew up at, that wasn't an insult. That was a compliment. But where the other guy grew up, that was an insult.
Well, they just confirmed that Yakub was handicapped, mentally handicapped, because he started school at the age of 4. This Yashmel started school as soon as he was born. So apparently he came out of the womb already talking and thinking and doing mathematics and shit. I mean, I don't know. Play it.
Okay. Maybe that's why they didn't take him. And he was immature enough that he stayed angry at people that ain't do anything to him for even as an adult. Okay, let me go.
Jewel's strength. Since Yashmal was raised in his native land amongst his people who looked like him, he did not suffer from the same ridicule, mockery, and low self-esteem which plagued his cousin Yakub, who grew up in a foreign land amongst other than self and kind. As a child, Yashmal was an exceptional prodigy and a genius. Yashmal was also told stories of the evil activities which transpired at the hands of his cousin Yakub. One day, when Yashmal was 9 years old, he was playing with 2 electromagnets in the home of his grandfather King Fukur, and noticed that electrons flowing in the same direction through 2 electromagnets would create the magnetic phenomenon of attraction, and that electrons flowing in opposite directions through 2 electromagnets would create the magnetic phenomenon of repulsion. By observing this, Yashmal realized that like flowing energies create attraction and unlike flowing energies create repulsion. Thus, Yashmal was inspired with a determined idea to direct the flow of mental energy of the Ebenoid people of the planet in the same direction so that the Ebenoid people of the planet will be unified again to be strong and righteous, and bring peace and balance back to the earth forever. Upon coming to this realization, Yashmal looked up at his grandfather King Fukur and said, "Grandfather, when I get older, I am going to make a people strong and righteous, and I will eliminate the devilishment which has come into the world to show and prove real power and wisdom, and bring back peace and supreme balancement forever." Grandfather
Okay,
King
stop.
Fukur said,
Has that happened yet?
It depends on if he took a route similar to his uncle. I think there's a counter to the technology.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure this out. Like, has this happened yet? I don't see any evidence that this has happened yet.
Well, let me see. The other tribe has at least a $6,000 head start. 6,000 years head start. We'll have to finish to the rest of it to see.
Well, according to them, he's smarter than Yakub, so he should be able to catch.
He's still at this point. He's still in the center of the earth. He ain't on the surface.
All right, play it. Let's get some more information.
"What will you make? Someone to establish order and cause harmony in the world." Yashmal said, "Man plans, and I plan, and surely I am the better planner." And it was at that moment, the boy Yashmal first came into the knowledge of just who he was, born to establish order, bring peace, build, create, and be the redeemer to the Ebenoid peoples of Earth. It is common for members of the Shuyuk tribe to finish all of the coursework taught in all of the colleges and universities of the surface world by age 9, but Yashmal finished by age 7. If it took a member of the Shuyuk tribe until age 18 to finish all of the coursework taught in all of the colleges and universities of the surface world, then that person would surely be looked at as being mentally handicapped or mentally retarded. Yashmal finished all of the advanced universal sciences which are taught by the schools in the inner earth by the time he was age 12, even though it is common to finish this coursework by age 15, but Yashmal was a genius and a prodigy. After finishing school, Yashmal met with the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth and told them of his intention to travel to the surface world as a bringer of peace and redeemer of the Ebenoid people. Yashmal was tried and tested by the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth, and once found worthy, at age 18, Yashmal traveled to the area presently known as the Mwanza region near the countries of Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya in Africa. Yashmal called his new doctrine Technology, and his holy book was called the Book of Technology of 720 Degrees, which was in a question and answer format.
It started to sound like bullshit. Technology and now technology. 720 degrees. So it sounds like some 5% of bullshit. We must get our hands on these doctrines. I want both of them, the technology and the technology. We got to get our hands on these so-called doctrines.
I don't think they exist.
Starting to sound like bullshit.
I don't think neither one exists. Or if they do, they exist in a form we don't recognize.
Technology, 720 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Play it.
Uganda, and Kenya in Africa. Yashmal called his new doctrine Technology, and his holy book was called the Book of Technology of 720 Degrees, which was in a question and answer format designed to get the mental energies of the listeners flowing in the same direction, which would in turn create unity, harmony, and attraction amongst kindred. Yashmal's new doctrine was so powerful that he had millions of people from all of the tribes on the earth coming to hear his message and aspiring to be a part of his mission. However, from the millions of followers that he gained on the surface of the earth, Yashmal only selected 144,000, which he called the chosen few, to be a part of the next phase of his plan. And when
Wow,
Yashmal and his
stop.
chosen few
144. Doesn't that sound familiar? That's in the Bible, isn't it?
Yeah, in
144.
Revelations, I believe.
Yeah. So Mr. Technology, millions of people, he only chose 144. This is starting to sound, this is bullshit. All right, let's see what he did with the 144. Go ahead.
surface of the earth, Yashmal only selected 144,000, which he called the chosen few, to be a part of the next phase of his plan. And when Yashmal and his chosen few departed, he told the people on the surface of the earth he would be back in one day. So Yashmal selected 41,150 Ebenoid females and 41,140 Ebenoid males for a total of 82,290 people from the original Ebenoid tribe. Yashmal selected 10,285 Rubedoid females and
Wait a minute. Stop.
10,280.
Where the hell are you fitting all these people? 82,000 people? Where are they staying at? Over your uncle's house? Where are you housing these people? That's a lot of people.
And is wilding in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Well, there was nothing holy about him, Kendall. He was born 20 miles from the holy city of Mecca, but there was nothing holy about him. The man was a damn devil from the word go. Wait, I'm still on the 82,000 people. Where the hell are you putting these people at? Who's feeding these people? How much is all this going to cost?
Okay, you remember it's starting to sound
Wait a
like
minute, wait a minute.
with the
Who's
fish and
paying
the
for?
loaves.
Wait a minute, who's paying for all of this?
Didn't we have the earlier question
82,000
about
people?
Yakub?
Huh?
Didn't we have the other question about Yakub and his 62,000 people?
Nah, he had 62,000. Yeah. Did he have 6? I don't know what, but you see, he had a ship or ships. Dude ain't got shit. I mean, where you? Dude, where you put 82,000 people? Yeah. Dude, where you put 8? Right. And who paying for all of this, bro? Where you getting the food from?
Hey, loaves and fishes.
and yeah, they got to be close. And what? You got a Salvation Army down there? They got hand-me-downs from the surface. Where are the clothes coming from? Who paying for all of this?
Hey,
Oh,
hey, Jesus fed 5,000 people with a loaf of bread and a little fish. I'm
well,
pretty
he
sure.
didn't. Well, he didn't
So,
clothe 5,000 people with one outfit. Shit.
good point. Well, what they mentioned
I
But
want.
there's a
something like
part in Revelation, and I think there's also a part in the Old Testament
Wait a minute.
where
Wait a minute.
God, where
Hold
okay,
on.
mhm.
Kindle said Yakub was God. He made the devil. What? All right.
that.
Anyway, let's
According to
go
this
on with.
story.
Well,
I
if you
still want to know
consider
who
the white
paying for.
man as the devil, then you're right. He created the devil.
I still want to know who paying for all of this. 82,000 people. Where they sleeping?
Outside, on the ground.
Where's the food coming from? What, you got nuts and berries and shit? Who paying for all of this, bro? That's the first thing. Hey, my man, Yashmil or whatever. Hey, bro, who paying for all this, dog?
Well, he lived in the center of the earth. He probably pulled some gold nuggets.
I mean, you're gonna have to give me a talent or something, man. I mean, somebody got. That's a lot of people, bro.
Okay.
All right, play it.
I'm just laughing my butt off.
Wait a minute, yo, and bugging. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm cutting up laughing over here.
And said, Yakub said, "This is flesh of my flesh and blood of my blood, and part of my three brains. You may eat."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, y'all crazy as hell.
Wow.
Y'all tripping, man. All right, go ahead, because I'm still I can't get past 82,000. Go ahead, play it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I got problems with all that. At least Yakub had a damn ship or a couple of ships. This motherfucker walking. Go
20
ahead.
people from the original Ebenoid tribe. Yashmal selected 10,285 Rubedoid females and 10,285 Rubedoid males for a total of 20,570 people from the Rubedoid tribe. Yashmal selected 10,285 Citrinoid females and 10,285 Citrinoid males for a total of 20,570 people from the Citrinoid tribe. And Yashmal selected 10,285 albinoid females and 10,285 albinoid males for a total of 20,570 people from the albinoid tribe, which made 144,000 people total. Yashmal took his followers into the inner earth through an opening beneath the Great Lake in the present-day area known as the Mwanza region in Africa to begin his eugenics genetic engineering experiment of grafting the various tribes of people on the earth back into the original Ebenoid tribe. Yashmal, being a master genetic engineer who was all-wise, right, and exact, knew that it was not necessary to kill anyone in order to accomplish his goal because he had knowledge of the science of dominant and recessive genes. Knowing that the Ebenoid tribe was the first, then Yashmal knew the Ebenoid gene would be the most dominant, followed by the Rubedoid gene, followed by the Citrinoid gene, and lastly followed by the albinoid gene. While inside the inner earth with his followers, Yashmal applied the science of dominant and recessive genes to design and engineer a system of arranged marriages by which the offspring born from each arranged marriage would have certain desirable qualities, and in time over a period of 900 years, all of the derivative tribes would have been grafted back into the original Ebenoid tribe. Yashmal also observed that the gene of the Ebenoid woman was the most dominant gene, and so Yashmal established the following rules of arranged marriages amongst his followers. 10,285 Ebenoid women and 10,285 Ebenoid men would marry to keep the Ebenoid gene strong and pure. 10,285 Ebenoid women would marry 10,285 Rubedoid men. 10,285 Ebenoid women would marry 10,285 Citrinoid men. 10,285 Ebenoid women would marry 10,285 albinoid men. 10,285 Ebenoid men would marry 10,285 Rubedoid women. 10,285 ebonoid men would marry 10,285 citrinoid women. 10,285 ebonoid men would marry 10,285 albinoid women. Yashmal would also keep 10 ebonoid women as wives for himself. The men and women were required to get married by age 19,
Stop.
and each couple were
Dude had 10 wives? Black wives? And he didn't go crazy?
Yeah. At least so far. I don't know. I'm
Wait.
still on the fence about that.
Had 10 black wives, dude. And he stayed in his right mind? Wow. Okay, there's a flaw in their grafting thing that I already pointed out. The albinoid women that are marrying the strongest of the black men with the genes, right? Their baby is going to be mixed at best, so you're still providing a mixed race baby. Now, he may not be truly albinoid, but he's not truly ebenoid either. So what are you doing? What do you do with that child? Who is that child going to marry? You see, the ones who are having children by the lighter races, who are their children going to marry?
Okay, the children of which ones are the dark skinned people? Where the dark skinned people marry the dark skinned people?
Okay, okay, so he had 3 minds. Okay, so 3 black women can take up those 3 minds. And he still had 7 to contend with. That he absolutely could not deal with because they were free of his minds. The other 3, okay, you had 3 that occupied his minds, right? The other 7 was free to beat the hell out of him, drive him nuts. He ain't got enough. He needs 7 more brains.
Well, as each one of them got pregnant, he ease off on them and move on to the others.
You gonna tell me he had 10 wives? He had 10 black wives. He had 3 brains, and he grafted people, and he never got accused of cheating. I don't believe that.
Well, maybe they were comfortable with that idea. You know?
So he walked into the house. He had 10 wives just hanging out. Nobody gave him no dirty looks, or nobody smelled perfume on him, or.
Well, how can they? I mean, he had 10 wives, so even if he did smell of a different woman, they would just probably assume that's his other wife.
Yeah, he had 10.
Well, if they live in the house together, they know what each one wears. Women are very meticulous, bro.
I think with 10 wives,
I get that.
He didn't have no energy for another woman.
Yeah.
So if you have,
I got 10 wives, shit, I ain't trying to mess with no others.
So if you got 10 wives and they all wear Chanel, okay, and he come in with some other shit on, they're gonna notice that. I'm still trying to figure. Okay. Okay, it's only cheating when women do it, and nigga likes to. And it's on one tonight, y'all. She on one. Go ahead, play it.
Okay.
Her truth is cutting up in the chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Man, 10 wives, man.
The men and women were required to get married by age 19, and each couple were to have 2 children.
Wait a
Living
minute,
in the inner
stop.
earth where he was from.
10 wives and he ain't dead? He didn't die at a young age? I mean, Yakub lived to be at 150, and a brain tumor took him out. Mm-hmm. This dude survived 10 black wives?
Will you let it go?
Hey, he deserves a medal for that one.
Man, he ain't dead? I mean, go ahead.
Well, the other dude had 27 wives, so hey.
Who? Yakub had 27 wives?
Well, actually, he had all the women in the thing.
And you see he died from a brain tumor. Where do you think that brain tumor came from?
Well, that's what he
Yeah,
did. Was trying to fool
you
around
got
with everyone.
So man, I
yeah,
love
you got
women.
a point.
I love women, but women ain't no joke. One woman is enough. Trust me. You got all you can handle with one woman. You got to be out of your damn mind talking about some 10 black wives. Nigga, you crazy.
Hey, that's
It's
why
it's
now.
tough with one, huh?
That's why they now limit themselves to 4.
Man, crazy dog. Go ahead. You know how much worrying you have to do with 10 black. There's so many things. They will tear you apart psychologically. They will just rip your mind to pieces because you have to like intimately. You have to be fair to all of them because they're women. You just ain't built like that. You don't have enough for no 10 black women. They'll tear you apart. You know, you'll be dead by the time you're 35 years old. You know, go ahead.
The men and women were required to get married by age 19, and each couple were to have 2 children. Living in the inner earth where he was from, Yashmal was continuously regenerated and rejuvenated and did not die like his cousin Yakub on the surface of the earth. Yashmal was able to teach, socialize, laugh, play with the children, enjoy life, and observe the generations and progression of his followers over the centuries. The offspring of the Ebenoid woman and the Ebenoid man would always be Ebenoid. The offspring of the Ebenoid woman and the Rubetoid man would also be Ebenoid because of the strength of the Ebenoid woman's genes. The offspring of the Ebenoid woman and the Citrinoid man would be Ebenoid 75% of the time, and Rubetoid 25% of the time, because of the strength of the Ebenoid woman's genes. The offspring of the Ebenoid woman and the Albinoid man would be Ebenoid 75% of the time, and Citrinoid 25% of the time, because of the strength of the Ebenoid woman's genes. The offspring of the Ebenoid man and the Rubetoid woman would be Ebenoid 75% of the time, and Rubetoid 25% of the time. The offspring of the Ebenoid man and the Citrinoid woman would be Rubetoid. The offspring of the Ebenoid man and the Albinoid woman would be Citrinoid. With the laws of arranged marriages in place, it would take Yashmal's chosen 144,000 people 46 generations over the course of 900 years to be grafted back into the original Ebenoid tribe. During this time, for some generations recessive genes would tumble forward. After 12 generations, all of the albinoids had been grafted back into the Citrinoid, Rubetoid, and Ebenoid tribes. After another 16 generations, all of the Citrinoids had been grafted back into the Rubetoids and Ebenoids. After another 18 generations, all of the Rubetoids had been grafted back into the Ebenoids, leaving only the original Ebenoid tribe. It was also observed that after 4 generations, if the albinoids refused to mix in, then they would be unable to conceive offspring after the 4th generation. After 8 generations, if the citrinoids refused to mix in, then they would be unable to conceive offspring after the 8th generation. After 16 generations, if the rubetoids refused to mix in, then they would be unable to conceive offspring after the 16th generation. Just like electrons flowing from atoms with more electrons to atoms with fewer electrons, it was necessary for the derivative tribes to mix back into the original Ebenoid tribe in order to get recharged and sustain and maintain their existence. However, because of the science of recessive and dominant genes, by mixing back into the original Ebenoid tribe, the derivative tribes would eventually be grafted back into the original Ebenoid tribe in time, leaving only the original Ebenoid tribe on the surface of the planet. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And so Yashmal smiled at this fact, now having knowledge that the evil acts done by his cousin Yakub would be reversed just by letting nature take its course. The process of grafting the derivative tribes back into the original Ebenoid tribe took 900 years, and once completed, Yashmal took another 100 years to teach and train his followers how to control and conquer the evil which existed within themselves, rather than attempting to graft the evil out, letting it manifest and personify as a being. After the 1,000-year period with Yashmal in the inner earth, Yashmal returned to the surface of the earth to the area presently known as the Mwanza region in Africa with 144,000 Ebenoid people. When Yashmal and his 144,000 followers returned, the people on the surface of the earth said, "Yashmal, you said you would be gone for one day, and you were true to your word. You have only been gone for 1 day, but many of the people you have returned with are not the same people you left with. What have you done with our brothers and sisters? One of the Ebonite women named Kidara, who was one of Yashmal's wives and one of the 144,000, spoke up and said, I am the daughter and great descendant of your brothers and sisters, which it seems to you left with Yashmal just yesterday, but we have been with Yashmal in the inner earth for 1,000 years, and Yashmal has taught us the science of genetics and how to rid the world of evil, as well as how to conquer the evil within ourselves. Yashmal spoke and said, indeed, 1 day in the inner earth can be like 1,000 years. Yashmal's 144,000 followers then proceeded to teach the Ebonite people on the surface of the earth the way to defeat the evil currently plaguing the earth in the same way that Yashmal had
Okay,
taught
stop.
them.
Where did this happen at? Surely it didn't happen on this planet. Because where we at, the white man is still killing everybody. Black people are still being shot down and all of this. So where's the teachings of this, what is his name? Yashmel and his 144,000 pure Negroes? Where are they? Where did this happen at? I don't see any evidence of this. Kendall, you have an answer for that? Where did this actually take place? Surely it could have taken place on this planet.
Well, let me say this before I gotta go. I had to get to work. They didn't. They still never said what happened to Yakub's people. While this was going on, that must mean they are still here. So I would assume this happened way in the past. So that's why you probably don't see anything happening. So, but anyway, let me get to work. And y'all
All
have
right,
a
bro,
good one.
speak. All right.
Again, though, remember, I had no part of this. I'm just a spectator. All right.
Wow. Yeah, man, I'm trying to figure this shit out. Like, okay, he done turned them back into Negroes, but that's about it. Where's the rest of this shit? I don't see nothing changing here with us.
Okay, but you notice he has said that those that he was trying to breed back into, if they refuse, they couldn't reproduce among themselves. So the white people wanted to produce with white people, they couldn't. They couldn't. They have to come back into and re-energize with the black people.
This big-headed Negro took all these people into the center of the earth for 1,000 years and came back to the earth talking about he was gone for 1 day.
I don't get that. That seemed to be
man. This is bullshit.
Yep.
And shout out to Auntie because she said, right, if Yakub was a god, why did he get rid of the tumor, let alone get one? Yeah, I agree with it. Yeah, why didn't he? This is bullshit, people. Kendall, this is bullshit, man. Now, we done gave it its just due. We sitting up here listening to it. We tried to see your side of it, but this is turning into pure grade A bullshit. Why did he just create some goddamn warriors to go up to the surface and take these motherfuckers out? Fuck all this grafting shit. Take 900 or 1,000 years to create a race of warriors, fearless warriors, and send them up to the surface to take these motherfuckers out.
Probably because it's a negative. It goes back to the magnetic, the negative and the positive. So if you do a negative action towards them, it's just going to be positive for them.
And now there's one thing I agree with. He said the gene in the black woman is the most dominant gene. Now that's true. The black woman's gene is the most dominant, even over the man's gene. The man's gene is only dominant when he's with a non-black woman. So, well, no, Charlene, we tried to give it its just due. Kendall believes in this nonsense. And I think that we've been more than fair lending our brain cells to this bullshit. It started out interesting, no doubt. If you would have came in for the beginning, it was interesting. It started out interesting. It had us entertained. But then it started breaking down into all of this bullshit, which is where we at right now. And it's turning into a high quality, grade AA bullshit. Go ahead, Dane.
Okay. Let's play.
144,000 followers then proceeded to teach the Ebenoid people on the surface of the earth the way to defeat the evil currently plaguing the earth in the same way that Yashmal had taught them.
Nah, Kendall, we're not doing all that. Hey, man, you can't sit up here and say we didn't give you a fair shake. Now we all listening to this shit. Everybody is trying to lend their brain cells and trying to understand. But the more we listen, the more we hear bullshit. That's not our fault. Okay? Sorry if we don't agree with you. I understand this is what you believe in, but we gave it a fair shot. Everybody here gave it their honest effort to try to hear this thing out. But it turned into bullshit. I mean, that's what it is. Play it, Dan. And it started out interesting, I'll give you that. But it deteriorated into bullshit. Go ahead, Dan.
Yashmal returned to the inner earth with his Ebenoid wife Kedara. After returning to the inner earth, Yashmal was elected to a seat as one of the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth. Yashmal taught Kedara the secret to eternal life and they had many children together. Yashmal told Kedara that the Ebenoid woman is the human representative of nature on the surface of the earth, and thus the Ebenoid woman is the key to destroying the evil plaguing the surface of the earth, and she is the key to bringing peace and balance back to the surface of the earth. Yashmal told Kedara that it was not him who the 24 wise elder scientists of the...
I know what this is, y'all. These are stories that you can tell little black kids to counter the white stories. You know how they got all these stories about George Washington and white people did all these great things. Well, these are stories you can tell the black kids. You know? Let me tell you, son, pull up his chair. Let me tell you the story about Yakub and Yashmil and how black people were and the big brain aliens and all that. These are stories you can tell the black kids so that they can feel good about themselves and feel that black people have some kind of power, or black people may mysteriously have these powers, and that there are black people who live in outer space or some shit. And the kid can go to school talking about, yeah, your white people did this, but my people can live in outer space. My people live on other planets. You know? Go ahead.
Oh, you know something? You remember the question you asked in the very, very beginning? They couldn't defeat the evil on their own planet, so they came here. Maybe that's why they can't defeat the evil, because they're not willing to destroy the evil or kill it or whatever.
So, truth is said, Yakub been losing brain cells since the beginning of the story. Okay. Y'all on one tonight. Good, Dane, play it. I'm not going to interrupt anymore. I'm making my tea. I'm going to go on mute. Take it from here, Dane, while I make my tea. Stop it when you feel you want to talk about something. I'm going to make my tea right now.
The inner earth had prophesied about. It was her, the Ebenoid woman. Yashmal told Kedara that he was merely a conduit to allow her to bring balance back to the earth. And so while the big head scientist Yashmal's followers execute his plan on the surface of the earth, Yashmal and Kedara wait with their family in the inner earth for the hereafter, that is to say, here on earth, after evil has been removed, and peace and balance has been restored.
According to what Master Farad Muhammad taught me on the race question.
So you telling me this story came from the Nation of Islam? And wait a minute, wasn't a name on one of the documents the so-called Dr. York, that the pedophile is Dr. York? Okay. Let's see. Wait a minute. I could have sworn that. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Obviously, something's a little off by this. Okay. So Planned Parenthood was in the. Okay. Well, shoot. I guess just like the Nazis got their ideas from eugenics from the U.S. people. I guess self-hate and all this other stuff came from black folks that was led by uh, a mad bastard alien who hated himself. Wait a minute. And wait a minute. He had 10 wives, so he only kept one. What happened to the other 9 wives? Yeah, did I miss something? I said he said children. He said with his wife, not his wives. Okay, so what did he push them out in the world? Say, okay, y'all go in there and help the followers implement my plan. Me and the first wife are gonna stay here with the kids, and then when I get evil out, we're gonna come up. Okay, is it me or they just sound lazy? This is the religion of self. It has nothing to do with worshiping something outside of yourself. Okay. Well, it seems like if you don't have love for yourself, having knowledge of yourself ain't helping. If you have low self-esteem, this is the religion of self. It has nothing to do with worshiping something outside of yourself. Okay. Well, if Yakub had got over himself and got mad at the people he's supposed to be mad at, took it out on them. He took it out the black people because the kids made fun of him. He didn't grow up and get past that. Yeah, the same kids that wouldn't have nothing to do with him became his followers. Until they realized he was crazy. Most of them escaped. The not so smart ones stayed. This reminds me of New Wabi. They believe in aliens and how humankinds are from many planets. How the battle would be here on Earth. Black people are 9 ethers and white people are 6 or less than that. Oh, this reminds me of a sci-fi book I read where it was saying that all the different races came from space. And they were in a war and they crash landed there, and some fell in Africa, some fell in Europe, some fell in Asia, and somewhere in between. And the aliens came to the rescue because they finally got the rescue beacon, help us. We crash on this primitive planet, and so all of them mixed up, and the aliens was like, "Oh my goodness, there's a planet full of mutts and bastards. We can't take them back because they obviously traffic with the enemy. So we're gonna leave them there." Sound like the black man on YouTube made that black woman from high school. Okay. But it was interesting. But I wanted to know when this thing came out, because there's too much stuff that sounds like recent stuff. But eugenics came out in the 20s. Planned Parenthood came out in the 60s or the 50s. Okay, and they seem to come out of the center of the earth at different points, but nobody else have wandered in. Okay, let's see what the rest of this sounds like.
According to what Master Farad Muhammad taught me on the race question, the origin of the races. In the beginning of the races, they numbered around 4. And from these 4 races of people, they has produced many different types of people. But they are not, say, independent in their beginning. They came from one. We say today we have lots of various color people all over the earth, from we say from brown to white. We are not all the same color due to intermixing with such colors as black, brown, yellow, and red and white. This has produced many other various colors. And
Okay, I stopped it because I'm reading what Auntie said. Well, think about it. It seems to me that the manosphere is from Yakub playbook, except instead of hating black people, they hate black women, and they're trying to find a way to uh, to create a woman who isn't a woman, so to say. Or they trying to make a man a woman. Okay, yeah, they need someone to blame. This is to help foster our self-esteem. Yeah, so that's where the self-hating, um you mad because they made you feel less than, or they picked something out that you saw it as a flaw, and you let them get to you even after you grew up. And even though you became this big fella and a big person, And now these same ones are turning to you. You figure you would definitely grow out of this. Oh, okay. They were making fun of me, but now they all on me. No, you use them to create a people that's going to carry on the hate that you have against black people um, for all time. Do not believe in life out of space, aka aliens. Also, aliens are here. Yeah, we call them illegal aliens or immigrants. Yeah. Hmm. But hey, they not a god, and Yasmal, he's lazy. That's why they couldn't get rid of evil on their own planet. They needed to create somebody to do it for them. They don't want to kill it. They need to counter what they do. They believe too much in the law of magnetics. So if they're real people, they're gonna wait for all the dust to settle down, and then they're gonna come out. Yeah. And
Okay,
hey,
Dame. It would seem that we have a guest who wants to talk about the story. Without further ado, sir, can you speak? Hello, everyone. This is Dalalale, Ricardo Bantu Bunt. Miss Frankie, how are you?
all right.
You know, I was listening to the story of this Yakub. One thing I do not understand. How is it you can have two brains and be mentally challenged? Yeah, explain that one.
Well, it seems like compared to his father's people, he's mentally challenged.
But he has two brains.
Yeah,
Not
that's
one, but two brains. And he is mentally challenged.
mm-hmm.
What sort of nonsense is this?
Okay. Well, maybe something happened to his brain when he was being squeezed out of his mom's. But JJ,
I don't understand it. How can a
okay,
woman give birth to such a, a creature with an enormous head?
I didn't understand why she slept with her husband's brother when she wanted a man of her own people.
This
If
is
you
what
want
I
a
am
man of your own
saying.
people, why would you sleep with your husband's brother?
This is what I am saying to myself. He slept with her husband's brother, and the brother comes to the surface and kill the brother.
Hmm? Repeat that.
He slept with her husband's brother, and the brother comes to the surface and kill the brother
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
she slept with,
Mm-hmm.
leaving Yakub to be deranged and incensed with evil. Why would you do such a thing? He has two brains, so that's twice he can think of evil.
Mm-hmm.
When one brain is filled up with evil, it spills over into the next brain. Now, two brains of evil.
Well, it's just that compared to the brains of his father's people, he was not all that smart.
Now, this Yahoo is a evil man of great proportions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Yahoo hated his own people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we happen to be black people too.
Mm-hmm.
Did he mistaking us for his own people? We had nothing to do with the murder of his mother. We had nothing to do with that. The Lalale has not murdered anyone. I agree. What happened to his family was murder, not justice. It was murder. But it had nothing to do with the black people on the surface of the earth. Why are we being blamed for the misfortunes of his people?
Because the people on the surface is dark skinned. His father's people is dark skinned.
This sounds like a problem amongst family.
It
This had
is.
nothing to do with the black people at the surface. He should not come amongst us and bring his family issues. Even though what happened to his mother was murder. I feel for him. But Mr. Yahoo had no business carrying out his vengeance on the black people on the surface. For this, he should be outlawed and chased back to the center of the earth. Or perhaps
Well,
even locked up in a jail.
well, see, that's the thing with hate. It's not going to be rational. Come to think of it, all of the worst ones has an naturally long, unreasonable hatred. But just think about Hitler, for instance. The reason why he hates the Jews is because his father was a Jew, refused to marry his mother,
Not want to.
and her mother married
We
a
do not
man that
want
was
to
against
have
her.
conversations about Jews on this chapter. We are already
Oh,
shadow banned.
Okay.
Let's keep it about Yahoo and his
Yahoo.
people. And what was
Okay.
his father's name was King Snuka?
No. His father wasn't a king.
No, his father was a king, King Snuka.
No.
King Snuka, wait a minute. And the daughter name was Princess Lali. It was Princess Lali, King Snuka, and Yahoo. No, Princess Lali and what was the other one who was the father of Yahoo?
Ooh. You know what? I forgot his name.
So it's King Snuka,
No, he's not a
Princess
king.
Lali.
He's the brother of the king.
No, the king came to the surface and murdered the brother because
Oh, okay.
Princess Lili had affairs with the King Snuka's brother.
Okay.
This is how they gave birth to Yahoo.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait a minute. His name sounds familiar. Yahoo. Kind of like the drink, only not spelled the same.
You.
Yes,
No.
Yoo-hoo.
No. That's the name
No,
of
his
the
name is Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo, like the chocolate drink, only not spelled the same.
restaurant.
His father, King Snuka, and his daughter, what is it? Her name was Princess Lily.
Yes.
Anyway, what was their last name? Did they have a last name?
There was no last name mentioned.
They did that on purpose so nobody could track them down. They did that to avoid paying taxes.
They're in the center of the earth. Which country would they be paying taxes to?
No, they did that so nobody could come down there and give them a bill.
Yeah. But,
So okay, this is serious, right? So Yoo-hoo became very angry and enraged. I don't understand why he hated dark-skinned people, since his name is Yoo-hoo, which is the name of a chocolate drink, only not spelled the same. So since he favors the chocolate drink, why would he hate chocolate people? This Yoo-hoo intrigues me. You said that he had a doctrine, right? A doctrine that treats tricknology.
yeah, Trick
I want
knowledge.
to see. I want to see this technology.
I don't
I want
think
to see
it's.
what it is.
I don't think it's real.
And then the other one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Teach
what is his
teach
name?
knowledge.
His name is Yashirobi. The
Yashma.
one, yeah, Yashirobi. The one who said that he has technology. This is ridiculous.
I thought it was
Technology,
Yashma.
technology, and technology. But yet he did not have a mental handicap. I still don't know how you become mentally ill with two brains. Both of your brains bad. You
Yeah.
see that you would think that if you have one good brain and the other one has gone bad, you have a spare. So you say
Well,
to yourself, okay, this side of my brain has gone crazy. Let me go over to the other brain.
well, maybe it's like apples. You put a bad one with a good one, pretty soon the good one will be bad.
Ah, that is the strong influence of evil.
Yes. I
And they
think
would make the
evil
other
was
one
trying
wait.
to grow a brain. That's where the
It's
tumor
a
came
it's a
from.
strong interview. That's a strong influence of evil. And the other one would be a copycat. Oh, I have a joke for you.
Okay.
10 cats were sitting on a fence. How come when one jumped off, there were none left? Or I would say there were 10 cats people
Uh-huh.
sitting on a fence. When
Uh-huh.
one jumped off, the others jumped off. Why?
Because they were copycats.
Yes, you have heard this one before, yes?
Uh, it took me a
They
second.
were copycats. People, the other 9 cats jumped off to follow the first one because they were copycats. I love this joke. I tell it all the time.
Uh-huh.
So wait a minute. Are you saying that he had an internal affair with his two brains and he tried to grow a third one, which gave him a tumor?
No, I think his brains were so full of evil. Evil had a mind of its own and was trying to break away from the other.
So his demise was untimely.
Uh, yeah.
Interesting. This you who fella intrigues me. How can someone carry evil for that long? That is unrighteous. How could you carry evil in your heart for decades and decades? And worse, live those decades. You are living through all of these generations and you are still carrying hatred in your heart. And it's self hatred. You hate your own kind. Now we have to be fair to you who. His family was murdered by the hands of his brother and
Mhm.
his henchmen. But still, we had nothing to do with it. Why did we get pulled into the fray?
Uh,
Simply because some big head kid had the nerve to go to school amongst American kids. What did he think was going to happen?
well,
You
he
have a
didn't.
big head. Your head is bigger than the rest of the kids. Of course, they're going to talk about you.
Yeah. Well, he didn't know that. This is the first time going to school.
Come on, you got two brains. You're going to tell me you can't figure something out that simple? Hey, I have the biggest head in the whole school. Somebody is going to talk about me. We need a rocket scientist to figure this out.
Well, he probably didn't. He was never made fun of before.
But wait a minute, hold on. Let's look at it this way. In terms of fruit, right? The kids have a head the shape of an orange, the size of an orange. Your head is a watermelon. So you're walking around in a school with kids who have the heads the size of an orange, which is normal, and you are the only one there with your head the size of a watermelon. No one
Well,
is going to. You think no one is going to talk about you? You must be mentally challenged. You're right. Now I
well,
can see. Wait a minute.
I,
Now I can see why you're mentally challenged.
yeah, yeah, and
You're the only one in the school that walking around with their watermelon head. Gauge the chat. Tell me what is going. I love to gauge the chat. I've been watching NT for quite some time now. She seems to be on one. She's enjoying
yeah,
herself tonight. Hello,
yeah,
Auntie.
she is. She been
Hello,
away for too
Auntie.
long, so she
And
have a
shout
whole
out
bunch of
to
stuff.
and the Lala Lay wants to send a shout out to Truth Is
Yeah.
and the rest of the people in the chat. So gauge the chat. Tell me what is going on.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Oh, Kaya Grace came in. Abby needs to get her brother. I guess. Okay. Let's see. So they laughing back and forth. There was a lot of the red rum stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay, Auntie's something I said earlier. How did his mama give birth to his big head? Since she coming from a people who have cone shaped heads, and she goes
You,
easy. She has an enormous vajayjay.
this is interesting, right? His mama has a cone head. He had the head of a watermelon. That does not spell well for the birth canal of his mother. Yes? Gauge the chat then. What is going on?
Um, as I
Has
said,
anyone
nothing much
has
going
any
on. Just a little
has
laughter.
anyone has anyone greeted the Lalale yet?
No, nobody greeted Delilah Lay yet.
Listen, I was talking to my little cousin, Kule Kukushe, right? He said that one day he wanted to grow up to be a self-hating moron. I asked him why. He said that it is lucrative to hate yourself nowadays.
Hmm. Okay. How's that lucrative?
Well, if you happen to be black and you hate yourself, people will give you a check. But he is still young.
Oh, okay.
Well, anyway,
Who's gonna give you a check?
huh?
Who's gonna give you a check?
The white people, of course, they love it when black people are self-hating. Kule Kukushe hates himself. He hates that he is a male. He hates that he is a male, and his mother named him Kule Kukushe.
Don't sound like he hate himself. Sounds like he like himself just fine. He's just claiming he hates himself.
He's a male with the name Kule Kukushe Johnson.
Okay.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing much.
Well, anyway, I'm going to take my leave. I just wanted to come up here and spend some time with the people. You know,
Oh well.
Dave, have you told them about my new show? The news. The
Oh.
Lalale will be reporting the E News coming soon. E
Oh.
News
Okay.
with the Lalale, Ricardo Avocado Montubans. I'm going to take my leave to everybody. I will say peace, power, and unity. Catch you on the rebound. Later, female night. And
Later, Black Knight.
give my best to the Black Knight.
Okay. All right. You have a good night. I will.
Wow, that was
Stay
interesting. I
loud.
haven't seen it's been a while since Delilah came up here, huh?
Yeah.
Said he has a little cousin named Kool Aid Kukushe. That's an odd name for a young man. You know, we'll explore
Yeah.
it some other time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on in the chat, y'all?
Everybody's saying hello to Kaya. Grace.
Kaya, welcome back, sweetheart. Kaya, you will never have to leave again. We are now on maximum protection all day, every day. Okay? There will be no more intrusions. We guarantee this is now a fully secured space. Backed up by my dogs in the chat, Truth is, Hassan Burton, and the rest of the E gang. No, I'm not gonna say gang. The rest of the E men. We protect this house. Yes, we have a zero tolerance for trolls now. We do not even give trolls the time of day anymore. One thing is said, they are out. If we even see a name we don't like, they're out. Glad to have you back, Kaya. What is going on in the chat day?
Not much. Nothing moved since everybody greeted Kaya.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, interesting. The story of Yakub. Um, I have to say, it started off interesting. It had me engaged, and then again, it just deteriorated into bullshit. Now, Kendall, you're still in the chat. It's not a shot at you, but like I said, we gave it, an honest listen. I'm sure everybody in the chat gave it, did their best. But let's just face it, it deteriorated into bullshit. Okay? I don't believe this guy existed, and I don't believe that anybody would have the patience to do something like that. What kind of patience is that? Now, if you got an evil scheme, right? Okay, I can see people spending a couple of months, maybe even a year. But 600, 900, 1,000 years? I don't think so. I don't think so. Then again, you can also make the argument that their experiment was being done in real time, but you still had to wait. I mean, once you put them to mate and they got pregnant, it was just a hurry up and wait.
Uh-huh.
You know. But this is other bullshit.
For the evil guy, he had a whole tribe of women to go through. Sleep with one till he gets her pregnant, go on to the next one. Sleep with that one, get her pregnant, go on with that one. And as he makes his way through, as they give birth, makes a decision to keep or not to keep.
And that's what I've been talking about, right? About these cults where the man is having sex with all of the women and the other men ain't doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the
Hebrew. Huh?
Yeah, the leader's gonna eventually kill you off. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the Hebrew. It's like, Yahweh ben Yahweh. That's gonna be the next story, y'all. Yahweh ben Yahweh. If you didn't know anything about him, oh my goodness, hold on to your seats. Y'all think Dr. York was off? Y'all think Dr. York was bad? Wait till we break down this Yahweh ben Yahweh dude. I think he's dead now. I think he died a couple of years ago. But this is a dude that established a cult in Miami that was so powerful and so influential. He had politicians in his back pocket. He was an open pedophile and a rapist. Women did not have any rights in his cult. He could sleep with any woman he chose, even if it was a man's wife. He was the absolute law. And the men in his group were so goddamn cowardly I don't know how the women even stayed. Like, this man, you about to marry your wife. This man says, well, she's not holy until I sleep with her. And the men, they allowed their wives to be slept with. Don't even get me. I have all, I can, there's a whole lot of problems with that. But y'all think this Yakub story ain't jack. You wait till I get to the story about Yahweh. What do y'all hear about this crazy ass black man and the people that followed him? Actually, the people that followed him was stupid. They did stupid things. He was highly intelligent. I believe he was from the Midwest too, somewhere around Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. He was born out in Kansas somewhere. Okay? And this is another thing that tells you that this Bible thing is a gimmick. Because when he didn't have any money, he had an economics degree that he got from college. But when he couldn't produce any money, he decided to create a cult because he studied the Bible. He read the Bible. And he realized that he could manipulate people with the Bible. It's all a game. It's a gimmick. And he started doing that and started gathering, collecting black people. And a lot of these black people were stupid. I hate to say it, but a lot of them was stupid. You know? So you're going to, first of all, let me see how many people want that story. Y'all might not want that story. Matter of fact, I got a couple of stories I want to do. I want to tell y'all the story of Champ. I want to do, okay, we just did Yakub. Y'all want me to do ISIS? Y'all want me to do Cleopatra? Y'all want me to do, y'all want me to do Dido? The mother of the most feared city in Africa, Carthagena, which gave birth to the greatest general in all of the known world, Hannibal Barca. You want me to do her? Tell me who y'all want me to do. Put a one in the chat if you want. If you want to start with the low tier, like Yahweh ben Yahweh, and then we work on up to the big people like Queen Dido and ISIS and all that. A lot of people heard of ISIS, but how many of you actually know the story of ISIS? It's a very powerful story. Like I said, a lot of you have heard the name ISIS, but don't really know anything about her. Know her story.
Auntie wants Dido.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we got one Dido. Like I was saying, ISIS is a very powerful story. Where she came from, why she was worshipped as a goddess, how she became a deity amongst the people. Like I said, a lot of you've heard the name ISIS, but don't know much about her. You don't know where she came from. You don't know her story. She has a very powerful story. As of Ra, do you know Ra has a burial site in Africa? He has a burial site in Africa.
Okay.
But that tells you right there that Ra once walked this planet, at least as an African man. And he was probably worshipped as a deity. But he has a grave, he has a burial site in Africa. So does ISIS. But ISIS is a very powerful story. Dido is also a very powerful story. So gauge the chat. What are they talking about in the chat?
Not much. Nobody said anything since Auntie Dido, Auntie was talking. Oh, wait. No, she's talking about how she almost married a Hebrew Israelite. That's Kaya.
You mean
Um,
the Hebrew? Oh, stay away from the Hebrew Israelites, Kaya. Now we call them the Hebrew. We call them the Hebrew evilites. They done graduated to evilites. Yeah, yes. Run away from them. Stay clear of them. Yeah, I'm good at this, y'all. We can do this. I love to have series of, where we sit here and we do comprehensive breakdowns of stories of historical people and where we can really get the real facts. I actually enjoy sitting with y'all talking about Yakub tonight, even though it turned into a laugher. Um, it fooled us at the beginning. It started out a little bit intriguing, but then again, it ultimately turned into a laugher. So,
okay. All right. Let's see. I think we better wrap it up, Max.
hmm let's do it.
Hmm.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us in the story of Yakub. Up next, we'll be doing the story of Queen Dido. I don't know when though, but I'll let you know. You'll see the live, and you'll have plenty of time to get ready for it because we're gonna put the live like a day in advance. So when I got all of my facts and stuff straight about Queen Dido, that'll be the next one that we
Okay.
do.
Oh, Kaya asks, "Are you and Kim the okay?"
Yeah, we always been okay, Kaya. We always been okay. I don't have a problem with Kendall. We just men's and like that. Men's, bicker back and forth sometimes with each other. That's the way we deal with each other sometimes. No, I've never had a problem with Kendall. I think some of the stuff he says is crazy. Like this Yakub thing that turned into a laugher. But hey, he has a right to believe what he wants to believe. I mean, I don't have to believe it with him. I mean, but no, we okay, Kaya. I don't know what happened to Emmanuel Briggs, though. I haven't seen him since he had that meltdown on the panel. So I don't know where he's at. He might be too ashamed to show his face around here. If you're in the clouds, Emmanuel Briggs, you can come on back in here, bro. We ain't mad at you. We ain't hating on you. I mean, yeah, I talked about you, but we ain't hating on you. You can come on back in here, bro. It is what it is. Everybody's entitled to have a bad day. That's all we looking at it as. You just had a bad night. What is Kaya saying?
Mika said, "I hope Emmanuel Briggs come back."
Yeah. I mean, he's welcome to come back. I didn't take his wrench. He still got his wrench. Ain't nobody mad at him. Probably just had a bad night that night. You know. So we'll leave the light on for him. You know what I mean? Eventually, maybe he'll show up in here one of these days. He's probably in the clouds. Gauging the chat. You know, Biggs, if you're listening, you're welcome in here, bro. We ain't mad at you like that. You just had a bad night. That's all.
Okay.
Everybody's entitled to have a bad night.
Okay. Kaya says, "I'm really sick, Max, so I might not be back soon."
Well, what happened? Sick about? What's the matter? Why is she sick? What is she sick from?
Well, I can only think of one thing, but she ain't mentioned it.
Kaya, you're gonna be
Kaya?
okay. If you need help, Kaya, with your sickness, come to Discord. We can help you. If you need help with your sickness, come to Discord. We can help you. All right, well, we got to go now because Dame is probably about to fall asleep. I done took my medication, so I'm about to fall asleep. So shout out to everybody who showed up tonight.
Mhm.
We had some fun, some laughs at Kendall's expense. And we'll holler at y'all. Thank you for the music.
Okay. It's
Thanks
cute.
for shout out to Delilah Lay coming through. You know, promoting his new show, Delilah Lay in the E News. So be looking for that to pop up every now and then on 1 hour segments. All right, y'all. Peace, power, and unity. Have a great night. And we'll holler at you sometime this week.
Okay.
Drop it, Dane.
All right.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Ann T. Having some fun tonight. All right, y'all. We headed to our house. We'll be in Discord if anybody want to come and chill out with us. All right? Peace, power, and unity, everybody.
You know, shoot the game going for mine.
All right.
And this is the year when madcaps get peeled. So I'ma spark this line, kick the reel.
Bang him out.
With all this chaos in the realms of the street, your local street dog got to make ends meet. The average Joe's far too slow for the ghetto pro. You better know, when I hit the streets, I like to glow, I like to glisten. And at the same time, stay low, listen, motherfuck the fame. I'm pursuing the dope. My stilo is symbolic to a kilo. Cash is popping, coke is cooking, beans is copping. Ain't that some shit? A player that's used to living rich is now a sticky kid, caught up in a ditch. In 94, Giuliani kicked down the door. In 95, niggas flipped to stay alive. Peeling caps while I laugh. In the stats, the 4.5. Remy in the glass, spark the boom, then I blast. They wanna confine me, sneak up from behind me. Bust a cap in my back and put me where they can't find me. They hate to see a young player pay.
They don't want to see that, son.
They rather see him spray. But I'm like Diddy, a Terminator, squeeze the lead off. Using verbs and nouns like rounds to blow your head off. Hitting up spots, heating up blocks. Investing in stocks like Colombian blow crops. I'm out to get cream and ain't no doubt in my mind. Fuck this broke shit, I'm hit, I get down for mine.
Yeah, get yours, son.
I get down for mine. I get down for this. I hear you wanna be a player. I ain't someplace you bet. Let's play a game of real nigga roulette. With this a DOA as I spray the melee. Contact and punctuation is compared to AKs. You in a daze. Overdose for pure funk. I'm fucking off like Tommy Gibb. My karma's a booty smoke. Decapitated rappers in my trunk. I'm sick, pumping skunk, bouncing with my click, popping mega jump. I'm getting back while these clowns be zigzagging. What's this talk about flipping keys? Come on, you nickel bagging. I'm blasting off wings and making doubters believe it. You see, I was packing heaters when jokers was banging cheerleaders. Ain't nothing changed, it's still the same in the rap game. I'm known for banging rookies out the frame. Y'all done forgot who was the pimp from the start. Sipping vintage wine, eating a la carte. I'm phenomenal from the abdominal. Far from comical lyrics and sticking the brains like barnacles. Never sweet. I'm bringing the drama to the street with techniques and rolling in fleets. Ain't nothing sweet about the street, so I'm poetically ill. I'm pure like cook up and lyrics shine like fish scale. I got the banger at your throat and you ain't showing no signs. K-Dep, let them know I get down for mine. I get down for mine.